the Texas Motor Speedway, the massive sports stadium in Fort Worth where the lights are on and the countdown clock is ticking towards a new twist on a Texas tradition. Football is what Friday nights are most famous for in Texas, but as the sun sets in Fort Worth tonight, it means something new. NASCAR is back. These Friday night lights will illuminate one of NASCAR's fastest tracks, the Texas Motor Speedway, as 43 drivers race 300 miles looking for the goal line. Here, collisions come at 200 miles an hour. Teammates mean nothing in the fourth quarter.
Back up front, Kyle Busch.
And 40 yards can't be measured by a stopwatch. One star has conquered this track with a precision to impress any field general. But he'll have plenty of competition on his way to the end zone. Tonight, it's the NASCAR Nationwide Series for a fast Friday night at the Texas Motor Speedway. The countdown begins next. And a steamy afternoon begins to yield to evening in Fort Worth as you look on the Texas Motor Speedway, the condos outside of Turn 2, the massive grandstand surrounding this fast track. And ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown as we get set for the NASCAR Nationwide Series going 300 miles on this fast track. Drivers gathering for their pre-race introductions at the start-finish line stage. The grid formed along the pit road and the crews getting ready to play their part in tonight's high-speed skirmish. Last time the Nationwide Series raced here in Texas was November 6th, and it was a pretty intense race. Carl Edwards won it. Kyle Busch had won the previous 5 straight here and led about half the race, but Edwards got around him in the late going. Then a couple of late cautions set up some late restarts and some pretty hard racing, but Edwards got away to stop Kyle's streak and celebrate with the fans, as has become now his winning tradition. Carl starts from pole position tonight. He's with Vince Welch now. Vince?
In fact, on pole for the 3rd time this season, but I don't want to bring this up, but still no wins. How are you going to take that #1 starting position, Carl, and turn it into a #1 finishing position tonight?
With a fast Ford Mustang, that's how we hope we're fast enough to win this race. There have been so many fast cars this year and so many guys who've been, really tough to beat. And we've had a little bit of bad luck, and I know Mike Beam wants to get to victory lane. We've had fast cars, and we were talking about in the garage yesterday. He said, man, I just got to have one of these races go my way strategy-wise. So hopefully tonight's a good one for us. That race here in the fall was a blast. I mean, that was a big deal for us. So we really felt like we turned our whole team around there. And Ford, these Mustangs, fast and all, everybody has been great, and we started off right. So hopefully we can get there.
A lot has been said about practicing in the daytime and then racing in the night tonight. What's the great unknown about that scenario for you?
Well, right now the track's got a bunch of rubber on it. The sun, well, it's going down now, but earlier today it was, it's really hot, really slippery. You drive down the corner, the car just slides up the racetrack, and now nobody really knows how it's going to drive. We don't know if it's going to have a ton of grip. The wind's going to die down. That's going to change the way you drive into turn 1 and turn 3. So it's kind of a big unknown. We'll just see what happens.
That sounds exciting. You're going to be our in-race reporter tonight as well, so we're looking forward to that.
All right, yeah, you got that camera right in my face right there, so I'll do my best.
Be on your best behavior.
Yeah.
Leave a question for Carl, ESPN.com, search word in-race reporter. Alan?
Vince, Carl, thank you very much. No question, Carl Edwards, one of the favorites for tonight. No question, Kyle Busch is one of the favorites as well. Look at Kyle's numbers in the Nationwide Series at this Texas track. He's won 5 of the last 6, finished first or second in all 6 of those, and led over half the race in each of them.
That almost doesn't look right, does it?
He's pretty good, that Busch kid.
Yeah.
Kyle starts 8th. He's with Jamie Little now.
Yeah, there's no denying his dominance here at Texas, but all 5 of those wins, all those laps led, Kyle, in the old car. What kind of challenges is this new car presenting at Texas?
It's presented us with a big challenge. We're not quite what we expected here, but the guys have worked hard. We've made a lot of changes and tried to come a long ways from where we were when we unloaded, and Jason and the guys did a nice job. So the Z-Line Designs Camry is decent, just doesn't quite have the speed that we want in it that we're looking for. So we'll see what we have against these guys here tonight, and maybe we can just keep those guys in our sights and steal another one.
A lot of unknowns. You guys practiced 2 days in a row in the daylight, and you guys qualified in the daylight. You're racing under the lights. You've won 2 truck races with the same circumstances. Will that help you at all?
Not really. I mean, I know the tendencies of what's happened here in the past with the trucks and everything, but totally different animal here tonight, totally different animal tomorrow night. So we'll see if those tendencies are the same, and if they are the same, I kind of know what to expect, and we can work on the car through the race and try to get it better and make some adjustments to it.
All right, Kyle Busch making his 100th start with Joe Gibbs Racing tonight in the Nationwide Series. Alan?
Jamie, thanks. Not far from where Jamie was interviewing Kyle, not far from where that 18 car was lined up on the grid, you will find our ESPN pit studio, where we've got our own version of Friday Night Lights going on inside. Alan Bestwick with 55-time race winner Rusty Wallace and team owner Big Brad Daugherty, who's got the biggest pair of cowboy boots you've ever seen. When you think of Texas Motor Speedway, you think?
I think fast, man. I think fast, fast, fast. This track is really quick. Getting down into turn one, close to 198 miles per hour. These cars are flat flying, and they're going to go faster yet tonight when that sun comes down.
Yeah, for me, it is frightening. I mean, I think back every time someone says Texas to 2008 in qualifying for the Sprint Cup Series, watching Michael McDowell barrel off down into that corner at almost 205 miles an hour. He gets the wiggle, and that was the result. Absolutely one of the most violent and vicious crashes we've ever seen in this sport, and he walked away.
And you think of that every time you think of this racetrack. It's fast, and it's frightening at times, this Texas track. It's the first race at this track with the next generation car. You heard comments from both Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch. It's the first race at night here as well for the Nationwide Series, and you each think that means something different for who has a chance to win.
Yeah, I think Kyle Busch has a great chance to win. I think he'll figure out this race car by the end of the day. He's a great chassis guy, just like this guy sitting beside us. So as the car goes through changes and the night cools off the track, I think he can make the biggest adjustments and get to the front.
I tell you what, I really think the Roush guys are going to be the guys to beat tonight. I mean, Jack Roush and his gang have got these new cars handling so good it's unreal. They're very, very fast in practice and in qualifying and everything. Quite evident by Carl Edwards getting the pole tonight. He's probably the guy that's going to win this race.
And by the way,
they're just that quick.
Sorry, Rusty. By the way, Carl Edwards starting outside front row for the Sprint Cup race. That's David Reagan, his teammate who won the pole for the Sprint Cup race just a little while ago, part of the post-qualifying ceremonies over there.
What's he got in his hand there?
Shoot somebody's tires.
That is a rifle, if you're
What do
not
they need
aware.
that for?
All right, so get ready for driver introductions. Get ready for some great racing here in Texas tonight. And when the countdown continues, we meet Texas-based team owner Steve Turner, a successful businessman from the Houston area and a longtime racer. Turner's come into the Nationwide Series and already won a race this year. Happened with Mark Martin back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the month of March. Can one of Turner's drivers keep the winner's trophy in the Lone Star State tonight? That's next on NASCAR Countdown from Fort Worth.
NASCAR Countdown is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at CodeSpotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences.
As we get set to go tonight at Texas Motor Speedway, the Turner Motorsports team has 4 cars in tonight's event. The team's owner, Texan Steve Turner, successful in oil and gas drilling and related industries, is a quiet man who enjoys his Texas ranch and now enjoys a very prominent place in the loud sport of NASCAR.
Since we quit racing out of here, it's a family gathering place and a place when we're not traveling, we all try to get together and come out and enjoy it. Talk about the good times we've had here. My name is Steve Turner. We're owner of Turner Motorsports. We operate 3 teams in NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and 4 teams in NASCAR Nationwide Series. We started our dirt racing stuff here in Texas. This is where we worked on it at. We built our cars from scratch. You know, we'd order a load of square tubing and build a race car out of it right here on the ranch. I've been hands-on with every part of it. I can change a spring, I'll change the setup on the truck, flat roll centers, fabricated chassis. I can do body work, I can paint. I've always been really excited about the mechanical part of anything. I just love equipment. You can sort of look around and see I like to play with all kind of stuff, from tractors, motor graders, bulldozers. I enjoyed that part of it probably as much as I do the racing part of it. I'm sure every race team has, similar goals. They want to win races. We have a commitment. We have a game plan. You never leave the shop thinking you can't win. we've always taken the attitude that when we leave, we're coming back for the trophy.
Mark Martin comes down to win here in Las Vegas.
He won, man. We won, dude.
Are you kidding me? Wow. Second place, Justin Allgaier. I can't believe it.
Turner Motorsports.
The 1-2 finish was probably as exciting as Mark winning. To see Justin there running with him, it was great. I like working with young drivers that has talent, that has respect. When you get an owner or sponsor that's willing to put their dollars behind an unproven product, you really have to work hard. If I took Jimmy Johnson and won 5 championships, I would not have done anything myself. If I can take a James Buescher or Justin Allgaier and get them 4 or 5 wins in these series, then I've given back to the sport that I love so much. We know that this is going to be a hard row and a tough row, and you know, there are going to be weeks that we beat our head against pit wall on the way out. But we're there for one thing and one thing only, and that's to win these championships.
Steve Turner talking about winning championships. There is the man on the grid now talking to Trent Owens, crew chief of his 32 car. And there are the 3 drivers that Turner is fielding in all of the races in the Nationwide Series this year and competing for the title. Jason Leffler, Justin Allgaier, and Reed Sorensen. And when you look at the Nationwide Series championship standings entering tonight's Texas race, you see that all 3 of those guys are in the top 5 in points, with Leffler second, Allgaier third, and Reed Sorensen in 5th. Combine that with the win at Vegas for Mark Martin. It's been a pretty solid start to the season for Turner Motorsports. Dave Burns has one of the Turner drivers with him tonight in the event. Dave?
And Kasey Kahne is with me right now. Kasey, you've always run well with the 38 colors. In fact, winning here in 2005 with them. But since Steve Turner bought the organization, what's been different for you and perhaps better?
Well, I think since I've driven for him, you know, Great Clips has always been a great sponsor, and we've had everything we've needed to run well. But to me, Steve Turner's putting a little bit more into it from his side. He's putting more, and he has the people. We're getting great cars from Harvick and things. We got Hendrick engines, so they're really putting a lot into it. And the cars have been fast. I have Stuart Cooper, who does an awesome job as the crew chief. We work pretty well together, and we had a good practice yesterday and today, and we'll kind of see how the race goes. A lot of laps on tires. It's hard to tell where you're at, but I felt like we were pretty decent.
What about the track cooling with this new race car? Kind of inexperienced for everyone here. What do you think is going to happen?
It'll be interesting. I think in practice today, especially in cup practice, as it got hot, the track was so greasy and slippery. I think now that some of that goes away and we have pretty good grip. Hopefully that's what happens. If we do, my car should be good. If not, I'm going to be probably on the loose side all night.
Kasey finished second with these guys 2 races ago at Bristol. We'll see how he does tonight at Texas.
Kahne gridded in the 9th position for tonight's race. Dave, thank you. Steve Turner, new guy on the scene. Brad, kind of letting his racing accomplishments do a lot of the speaking for him.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Alan. I had a chance to talk with Steve a little bit, and he's a very unassuming, very successful businessman, stays in the background. I talked with one of his drivers, Jason Leffler, about him. I said, tell me who is Steve Turner? He says, I'll tell you who he is. If we're complaining or missing something on Saturday, on Monday, it's in the race shop or it's on the race car. That's the type of commitment and guy this is. We're lucky to have him in our sport.
Rusty had a chance to spend some time with Mr. Turner as well. Your impressions?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very quiet guy, no doubt about that. I was able to sit down and talk to him. I said, don't take this the wrong way, Mr. Turner, but who are you? Tell me about you, man. He said, you know, I've been in oil and gas, the equipment business for a long time. But, you know, Rusty, I've been a racer. I've owned a lot of race cars. And didn't you know that I won at Texas 4 times? I said, no, I didn't know that. He said, well, I had 4 different drivers in the short track cars that used to run here at Texas Motor Speedway, and I won. He said, I really enjoy this sport. I really are really committed to it. I mean, this guy switched from Toyota to Chevrolets, Alan. He spent a lot of money doing a lot of stuff. He cares. And this is a guy we're going to hear a lot about. I really like this man, a real gentleman.
And quickly, your thoughts on the best opportunity to win tonight for Turner?
Well, I think Kasey Kahne's his best opportunity. Kahne's won here before. He's very fast at this racetrack. And the key thing to win this race, in my opinion, tonight, you're going to have to run the top side of the racetrack. And Kasey Kahne's that type of the guy, Brad and Alan. We'll see him up there all night long. He can win this thing.
Let's talk some more about what it's going to take to win this race tonight. First night race here at Texas for the Nationwide Series. Besides it being dark, what's going to be different?
Well, the biggest thing I'm concerned about it was when they pick up speed and the track cools down and it gets dark, that's going to cause it to pick up speed.
Yep.
This front splitter that we hear about a lot is going to start getting lower to the ground, and a lot of guys are going to miss it. That splitter right there is actually going to start hitting the ground and bottoming out, and that thing right there is going to become a real problem. I think we'll hear about it tonight.
So relating to that added speed in that front splitter, let's go to Tim Brewer in our Craftsman Tech Garage with something to watch for, maybe on the first pit stops. Right, Tim?
Alan, one of the biggest changes from the old car to the new car is we used to have an air dam right here. And what it is a piece of plastic ran all the way across the face of the car. But when it hit the ground, it simply grind itself away. But now, with this new front splitter, look at the square inches right here. Goes all the way across the front of the car. When it hits, it literally lifts this tire off the ground. The only way you're going to be able to fix that, you've got to go in here. This is the wedge bolt right here that runs down to this steel plate that sits on top of the spring. The guys have literally got to turn this bolt and raise the car up on this corner, and that's the only thing that's going to eliminate the splitter from bottoming out. AB?
Something you might see on the first set of pit stops tonight. Thanks, Tim. And Brad, because there are so many new conditions and unknowns in this race, crew chief's got to be on his game.
Crew chiefs are going to earn their donuts tonight. I'll tell you that right now, because they're going to be all over the board trying to figure out, after that first stop, which way to go with their race cars. I talked to Ricky Pearson, who's the crew chief on the 51 car with Jeremy Clements. He says, I'm literally going to have a notebook and have some ideas of things I'm going to have to try to do. Check off if we get to the end of a long fuel run and we get our pit stop then, or if there's an early caution, I'll have to do something different. Maybe just an air pressure adjustment. But they're going to have to really be up on it as a crew chief tonight.
You like going fast still, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, you got to go fast from here up to the broadcast booth for the call to race.
This is a fast track, and I'll try to run fast, too. We'll see what happens.
All right, we'll talk a little bit.
Okay.
Rusty headed out. Coming up, we will talk with another guy who likes to go fast and has been doing a pretty good job of it lately. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the right there, kind of sneaking in behind Paul Menard. Could he be the next first-time Nationwide Series winner at this track? We'll talk about it as we close in on the green flag in Texas.
NASCAR Countdown is brought to you by State Farm. State Farm agents are there when you need them. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com.
The countdown continues at Texas Motor Speedway for tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series 300-miler on a beautiful Texas evening. It was about 90 degrees today. It's going to be great weather conditions for the racing tonight. Brad Keselowski has locked up the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship at this track. Remember he did that last November?
Yeah.
But his 2011 campaign hasn't quite started out the way he hoped. He's had 2 crashes, plus that flat tire leading on the last lap at Las Vegas that cost them a win. Well, Brad starts on the outside of row 1 tonight. Dr. Jerry Punch, what about his chances to finish first?
Well, although he has not won a race this year, as you mentioned, Alan, his best run and best finish came on a mile and a half at Las Vegas, finishing 3rd. And, Brad, what's it going to take for you to get your Dodge in victory lane here tonight?
Well, I mean, a little bit of luck and a little bit of speed. And, anyway, it seems like we have more speed here than we've had. I think we're a solid top 5 car, maybe even a little better, so we'll have to see what we can get out of our discount tire Dodge Challenger. But, we need a little bit of luck. We're in position to win at Vegas and cut down a tire, and we're in position to give Kyle a run for his money at Bristol or cut down a tire. So, it's just been one of those deals, and we got to keep working on it. We got the car's just a little bit better so we can keep the tires going, and then we know we got to find just a little bit of speed. So it's a balancing act, but this is the best I've felt about my car all season long, and I think we can get it done here today.
A lot of unknowns here tonight. What's going to happen to this racetrack when the sun goes down?
That's it. We don't know, other than it's going to pick up speed. We know it's going to get a lot faster. Speeds will be up. We're going to see a lot of drafting. But as far as the balance of our cars go, we don't know. They might get looser. They might get tighter. And that's a huge variable when you put this whole pack together. All the cars seem to change handling when they get in a big pack. So, we'll just have to run it as hard as we can and see if we can get up front at the end.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Alan, last year's champion, rolls off 2nd.
All right, Doc, thanks. And now next topic is first-time winners in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Someone could be a first-time winner tonight. It has happened twice before here at Texas. Kurt Busch won in his very first Nationwide Series race ever. That was 2006. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., 1998, in his 16th start, went to victory lane. An exciting race that one was. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. makes his 45th Nationwide Series start today from the 4th position. And Dave, a lot of us think he could be the next first-time winner. What does he think?
With Ricky Stenhouse Jr., there have been lots of improvements, Ricky. How much you and how much car? Because Roush Fenway's been fielding some awesome cars lately, too.
Definitely a combination of both. I think I've gotten smarter as a race car driver, and I think that's helped us. The speed's coming from the cars and everything that Roush Fenway's doing, and Roush Yates in our engine shop. So, you know, I feel like we got a car to win here at Texas, and our Easy Feet Ford Mustang's been good all weekend.
You gave up the lead late at California. Did you learn from that, and can you close here at Texas?
I did learn, and, you know, I don't need to drive the wheels off of it too early in the ride. I think that's what we did at California.
Ricky Stenhouse, great starting spot. We'll see if he can close it out today in Texas.
All right, David, thanks. And we mentioned earlier this Texas track is fast.
Yes, sir.
How fast is it? Well, of the 11 races the Nationwide Series ran last year on 1.5 mile tracks, this Texas track had 2 of the 3 fastest qualifying laps. And the 189-mile-an-hour lap that James Buescher turned here last November was the fastest qualifying lap of the season.
That's throwing the coal to it, brother. I'm telling you.
It is a fast place. All right, let's talk about how that speed plays out into the trouble spot on this racetrack, which is turn 2.
Yeah, Alan, these guys are coming down wound up, going into turn 1. They're running about 200 miles an hour as they go into that corner. And as you get through the corner, starting to go out into turn 2, what happens with these race cars is the banking goes away from you. Here we go. We dive off down to the corner. The car's digging. As you pick the throttle back up and try to get some forward bite, it flattens out right there. Car gets very light, and it pushes towards the wall. You really have to be careful in turn 2. It's also very bumpy, as you can see right here. Guys really chasing that steering wheel, trying to get some grip in those tires, and it's beating him up just a little bit.
Ricky Stenhouse working hard. These drivers will work hard for 300 miles during the race tonight. Different faces in different places is where we go next. Kevin Harvick Incorporated's 33 car has a different face behind the wheel tonight. Paul Menard, one of 7 scheduled races for him in this car this year.
Always good to see Paul in this series. He does an outstanding job. I'm still waiting on him to get to victory lane because he's always in the hunt. At the end of the race, starting 5th, he should be a threat tonight.
The Pastrana Waltrip Racing 99 car, different driver aboard tonight.
Yep, David Ruderman subbing for Ryan Truex, who's healing up from some wrist surgery. Couldn't have a more suitable driver putting that race car than old Ruderman. He'll flat get it done. Should be fun to watch him race tonight.
David and his dad Buzzy there on the right, sharing a few minutes before the start of the race. Now, some other people to watch. Elliott Sadler. All right, throw some numbers at you here. He starts 3rd in car number 2. Can he finish in position 1?
Absolutely, he can do it. We're waiting on him as well. You know, we started out the season, thought that Elliott was going to be a very viable candidate to win the championship. We're still waiting for that team to round up, but they're getting better every week, and he can put that thing in victory lane without a doubt.
And Kevin Harvick, team owner, checking on the status of his car tonight. Harvick going to watch Paul Menard drive the 33 and Elliott Sadler drive the 2 as well. So a lot of potential winners in the field. Starting with the man on the pole, Carl Edwards. Questions to be answered. How fast will the pace be in the cool of the night? And how tricky will turn 2 turn out to be at Texas?
Let's watch.
We're in Longhorn Country, Texas, on a Friday night. The lights are on, but not at a high school football stadium, but at the massive Texas Motor Speedway, where a fast and sometimes frightful 300 miles is about to begin at the Great American Speedway. 43 drivers setting off in search of victory tonight in the Lone Star State. Which of the 43 drivers is going to put on the cowboy hat and do the Wild West celebration in victory lane? Well, we're a couple of hours of finding out. The sun beginning to set. It has been a warm and hot day here in Fort Worth, but it's going to be a great night for racing at this very fast Texas Motor Speedway. A couple of other drivers to talk about tonight. Joey Logano looking for the win. He starts 7th.
Yeah, we're looking for Joey to get back to victory lane. Hadn't been there since October of last year. He's got a 9-race drought, which if we can say that, but he's always in the mix.
Eric Almirola, remember he had a win at Milwaukee back in 2007, but he doesn't consider it his win because he started the car. Denny Hamlin got in. Almirola looking for a win of his own as he thinks about it, starting 10th tonight here in Texas. Justin Allgaier driving one of those Turner Motorsports cars from 11th spot.
Absolutely, another young man we're looking forward to getting up front and mixing it up with these guys. He has a lot to prove. He feels he needs to validate that victory he had last year at Bristol.
Told me earlier today it's his dad's birthday. He wants to bring him a trophy.
Well, happy birthday, Pops.
So whichever driver wins, Justin or someone else, he or she will have very much earned a celebration at night's end, because getting to the finish line at this track is no easy feat, that's for sure. Time to go trackside for tonight's opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the 2nd Battalion, 354th Regiment, 95th Division out of Grand Prairie presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Brett Schisler of Texas Alliance Raceway Ministries offers tonight's invocation.
Most Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, Lord, and we thank you. We thank you for this beautiful evening and for all the opportunities before us. We thank you for our freedom and the chance to be together tonight and to pray as free people. And we thank you, Lord, for the men and women all over the world that help to keep us free. We thank you for the sponsors, for the fans, and for all the people that make this event happen. And Lord, we come to you tonight and we ask for your protection and your safety. We ask that you be with the drivers, the fans, the crews, and most especially all of the track service personnel. We come to you tonight, Lord, and we ask all of this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, as we pray. Amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Hometown Hero National Anthem Contest winner, Benet Dennis.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner get waved o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Time to go racing. 43 drivers for 300 miles. Did you know the pole winner has only won a nationwide race in Texas one time? Carl Edwards starts on the pole. The engines fire next.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Texas is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at CodeSpotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series is in the land of the Longhorn this weekend, Texas, where twice we've seen first-time Nationwide Series winners at this track. 1998, Dale Earnhardt Jr. passed Joe Nemechek on the last lap to score his first win. It was his 16th start. And then 5 years ago, Kurt Busch, in his very first Nationwide Series race, scored the win, started 7th, led the last 70 laps, one of 2 wins he would score that season. Could we perhaps have another first-time winner tonight in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Texas Motor Speedway? Brian Scott driving the 3rd Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, that number 11 machine. He starts in 13th position tonight. He'd like to get on up there and challenge his teammates and the rest of the front runners for the win. Michael Annett, new sponsor, new chassis, and a lot of high hopes for his race tonight.
Yeah, I agree. He's had some high hopes for this series, and it's been a little slow. But, yeah, Michael Annett could be a threat tonight.
And 3-time Texas IndyCar winner Sam Hornish Jr. Just his 2nd race in the Nationwide Series this season. He'll drive the 12 car tonight. Team feels like they've got a pretty good machine.
Got a lot of Cup experience. He was really fast in practice. Sam could get in the mix. I hope he does.
All right, so just some possibilities for being a first-time winner tonight. Could it happen? Possibly so. Lots of experience up in our broadcast booth, where Rusty has moved to join Andy Petrie and Marty Reed for the call of the race. Gentlemen, experience counts.
It certainly does, but there's always that tinge of hope that we might see a couple of other first-time winners. And let's bring a couple of names to the forefront in our Gillette Skeptic or Believer division. And let's put two names up there, both of them driving Fords, both of them on the same team. How about Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Trevor Bayne? Pick one there, Andy. What do you think?
Marty, I'm a believer in Stenhouse. I believe he's really got what it takes to win races in this series. He's leading the points. You know, he comes in here with a fast race car. We've talked about that. But he's got a lot of confidence. He got the lead at California. Maybe he drove his car just a little bit too hard, but he's got what it takes to win. It might come here tonight.
Marty, I do believe in Trevor Bayne. I mean, gosh, the guy won the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the year. Since then, he's had a lot of problems, a lot of crashes, but still so. I think he can get in victory lane yet this year again in these nationwide cars. He's been fast. He's qualified good. I am a believer in Trevor Bayne.
Let's zero in on the other topic. Obviously, we raced at, or qualified at 90 degrees earlier today. Sun's going down, temperatures cooling. And near the end of that qualifying, we saw something that we hadn't thought about at all happening, and that was guys going to the top. Elliott Sadler was the first, and Carl Edwards won the pole up there.
Well, you know, the track is pretty doggone rough, and I think that the guys go to the top of the racetrack for a smoother track, better grip. I really think tonight you're going to see these guys up on top of the track digging, and we might even see the speeds pick up so much, like we talked in Countdown, Andy, that these splitters might be bottoming out. I think it might be a problem.
Yeah, we got this track fast, and they'll be trying all the lanes.
Let's go trackside to get them started.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome your Grand Marshal, General Manager of Groovy Automotive, Jim Kilgo.
Drivers, start your engines! Crank them up. Hey, you can crank it up. Fire it up. Fire it up. 30 on check. Crank it up. When you're ready. Hey, Ernie, let me know. I got a set of feed blowers on that thing now, too,
So the engines have fired on the 43 cars that have made the field for tonight's race. Our in-race reporter is going to be Carl Edwards, our pole sitter. And remember what happened here the last time we raced in the Nationwide Series last fall? Carl Edwards took the checkered flag and then started a new tradition, heading up into the grandstands. Sun is going down in Texas, which means the speeds are going to be going up, and it's going to be over 185 miles an hour. We're going to fly around this racetrack. Yeah, the cows are going to be wide awake late into the evening. Now, let's show you the starting field. Comes across the top of your screen. One car did not make the field. That was Brett Rowe. Two are going to the rear for missing the drivers' meeting, Tim Shendell and J.J. Yaley. And that gives us the opportunity to talk to our in-race reporter. It's Carl Edwards. It's all yours, Rusty.
Carl, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Hey, I got you, Rusty. How's it going?
Good, buddy. We got an ESPN mailbag question. It comes from Tracy in Tumwater, Washington. She wants to know, I've heard you say many times how much you like racing here at Texas. What is it about this track that makes you like it so much and have so much fun here?
Well, Tracy, there's a couple things. Number one, this place is fast, and it's really fun to drive down the corner 200 miles an hour and slide these cars sideways. Two, the crowd is great. The people here love the racing. And third, you know, the track has a bunch of different lines and grooves that you can pick to race from. So it's really fun as a driver to race here.
Hey, Carl, we see a lot of drivers out here trying to run wide open around this racetrack. And with this track picking up grip tonight and being a night race, how many laps do you think you can run wide open around this place?
I don't know, man. It's going to be wild. You know, the track's going to gain so much grip. Our Fastenal Mustang was fast. I could run wide open through 1 and 2 in qualifying, but now that the sun is going down, you might be able to run wide open for a lap or two on each screen. But it's going to be a test of bravery, you know, see who can hold it the longest, I guess.
All right, Carl, thanks for talking to us. Now, Andy's going to speak to your crew chief, Mike Bean.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.
Hey, Mike, Andy Petrie in the booth. You have us?
Yeah, Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, it's the first time for this new car here at Texas. You've had a lot of practice time with it. What have you learned, and what do you think you still need to learn about this new car here?
Learned a lot. You know, we've been very fortunate with all the support from, you know, Robbie Reiser and that group there. I raced a truck here, you know, and for about 5 years with the splitter and stuff, so I feel pretty good about it. You know, we still got some work to do, but, you know, everyone's doing a great job, and, you know, we'll see what we got to, you know, get going here and see what the racetrack does and try to keep up with the racetrack.
Okay, well, good luck tonight, Mike, and thanks for talking to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so the cars completing their first pace lap. Let's get the latest word from pit road. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Marty. You know, this being the first night race of the year and the first time ever the new generation Nationwide cars run at Texas, many, if not most of these crews are literally in the dark with regard to what's going to happen here tonight. Now, they all agree the track's going to cool off. That's where the opinion differs. Some say the cooler track will add more grip, which will make the cars tighter and hard to turn. Look out, turn 2 wall. Now, others say that the cooler track will increase the speeds and the cars will be freer all the way through turns 1 and 2, which create a problem. So if you guessed incorrectly, you could have your hands full early on, which should make it very much fun to watch. Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, one team to watch for tonight is Turner Motorsports. And as you saw in our countdown show, Steve Turner is the owner, and he's from right here in Texas. He's pretty confident about getting a win here tonight. Why? Remember back to the last mile-and-a-half track we raced at? That was in Las Vegas. They got their first team win with driver Mark Martin. Tonight they have 4 cars in the field, led by the 38 of Casey Kane. Vince Welch.
6 of Joey Logano's 8 Nationwide Series wins have come on mile-and-a-half tracks. Kyle Busch has won 5 of the last 6 races here at Texas. So why aren't these two the overwhelming favorites to win tonight? Well, none of those mile-and-a-half victories have come with the new Nationwide Series car. In fact, these two teams have struggled this week trying to find the balance in both practice and qualifying. If the 18 or 20 is to win tonight, they need to figure it out in the next 200 laps. Dave Burns?
Vince, Ford Racing is still looking for its first win in Nationwide with the new Mustang. And yesterday, Ricky Stenhouse, driver of the 6 car, told me that the executives are plenty happy with their speed. 3, now 4 poles this year. But they're really ready for them to win. In fact, so much so that Ford Racing Director Jamie Allison stopped by Roush Fenway Racing Monday for their weekly nationwide meeting, talked to the crew chiefs and drivers, and with a smile, he told them that the Mustang wins in every series it enters. And it's time to get it done now in Nationwide, Marty.
No pressure there, huh, fellas? All right, let's talk about the rest of the onboard cameras that we have for you tonight. And you see Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Brad Keselowski, Jason Leffler, Justin Allgaier. We've already talked to Carl Edwards, Stephen Wallace, Eric Almirola, and Kenny Wallace. All have onboard cameras. Our over-the-wall reporter is Mike Klein. He's the jack man for Jason Leffler's number 39. You be safe down there, Mike, and we'll be watching.
Thanks a lot, guys.
And it gives us just enough time to talk about our Goodyear track facts. And a couple of things. One, we've got a different tire on the right side, but I also want to talk about one thing we haven't really talked much about. How about the bumps?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of bumps in this track, especially in turns 1 and 2, but also that banking does flatten out a little quicker here than it does on some of the mile-and-a-halves. We've heard people talking about look out to, turn 2 wall. That's the reason.
Yeah, these bumps are really going to be tough, and this grip is going to get up high. And I have no idea, like we talked in countdown, what's going to go on with the splitter as far as bottom out. A lot of unknown, guys.
Well, here's the conversation between the 16 of Trevor Bayne and the crew right before we go green.
Dude, I love night racing more than anything in the world. And I got some boots, so I need a hat and a mask.
Yeah, if you play your cards right, it's free hats all around right here.
See ya.
And you get to shoot some pistols, too.
In the Nationwide race?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, son. It's going down now.
That's great. All right, they're coming through turns 3 and 4. That is great as we're getting ready to go green. You can hear the crowd coming to life. A good crowd on the hand tonight here at Texas. 10 of the last 11 Nationwide Texas winners have won from a top 10 starting position. So watch the first 5 rows. Carl Edwards has selected the high side. He's on the left-hand side of your screen as we come down towards the green flag. Flags in the air. The 6th race in the 2011 Nationwide season is green. Carl Edwards gets a great start. Brad Keselowski falls right in behind him with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. third. And already we're seeing 3 wide.
Yeah, but you see Carl Edwards on the bottom of the racetrack the first lap of the race. He qualified up on the top side when it was hotter today.
Yeah, that's pretty confusing for me to watch. I mean, he wanted to outside the start of this race, and he shoots to the bottom, guarding it off. And I got to believe when his tire starts wearing just a little bit, Andy, he'll be going back to the top.
So just a little bit further back. Remember, Kyle Busch started 8th in this race. He has already worked his way up to 5th. There you see him. Left-hand side of your screen, he has gotten ahead of Trevor Bayne. Eric Almirola in the 88 on the high side. Underneath him is Casey Kane in the 38.
They're coming down this front straightaway. It's very, very flat in the front straightaway here. And they get down into turn one. A lot of banking as you enter the corner. And like Brad Doherty was talking in Countdown, as you exit turn two, right about right here, these cars get real unstable. And you see how they just can't get the speed right there because they lose the grip. This is a spot we're going to have to watch all night long.
You see the 16 car of Trevor Bayne, he got really loose over the bumps getting into turn one, too. He's trying to work that outside lane, but that bump in turn one really got him out of shape.
Guys, we were talking about how fast this race was going to go. The lap time, 29.82 for our race leader, Carl Edwards. He qualified at a 30.17.
So is there grip in the racetrack? Heck yes. And this grip creates speed? Heck yeah. And that changes the way the cars are going to handle. I mean, there's a lot of guys, probably about 10 laps, are going to be looking to get down pit road and try to fix their cars that aren't handling good.
10th place battle right there. As you can see, Trevor Bayne, Eric Almirola is right up underneath him.
That's where you get in trouble, getting off that turn right there where that banking flattens out.
You see Eric Almirola had a lot of momentum coming off that turn. Pulled right up on the back of Bayne right there. Could have been a problem. Jamie, got some information on Bayne?
Yeah, Trevor actually, Rusty, just came on the radio and says, guys, I am just bottoming. The splitter is hitting over the bumps, and that's causing him to go backwards here in these early laps.
Well, that's exactly one of the things, everybody, we were talking about in Countdown.
Yeah, the whole team, we talked about what's going to happen here. Andy, do you think that's happening now in these early stages because the tire pressure is so low? And will it fix itself when that pressure comes up?
Well, they've almost run enough laps now, Rusty, to get that pressure up. I think this extra speed is what's making the cars travel more. It will get a little bit better during the run, but what I would worry about is later in this race, it's going to be cooler yet, and they're going to have more grip, so they might even have more trouble with that.
Yeah,
they may have to work on it.
We heard Tim Brewer tell us in the show what he's going to have to do to fix it. These guys got one choice now. That's to come in on the next pit stop, raise the hood, raise the front of this car up so that splitter quits hitting, and that'll help this car a lot.
Okay, let me update you on a couple of other cars that have already parked it. Dennis Setzer, Jeff Green, Carl Long, and let's see, J.J. Yaley is now one lap down. He is on pit road, though. He has not taken it behind the wall. Also, the 68 of Matt Carter has taken it to the garage area. Jason Leffler in the 30, Brian Scott in the 11. That is for 16th, and you can see the 7 of Josh Wise, and Stephen Wallace also trying to get into this mix.
These guys are trying to get all they possibly can in the early going while the tires are real good. A lot of aggressive driving early to try to gain as many spots as they can. It's a lot harder to pass these cars when these tires start wearing a little bit.
We can tell you now Yaley has taken it behind the wall, and also now the 24 of Kevin LePage. Let's go back to the race leader. Brad Keselowski is second, trying to track down Carl Edwards. Edwards has now opened up an 0.8 of a second lead, guys.
I've been watching Elliott Sadler, this two-car. They seem to find something on this style of track. At California, they were fast. Kevin Harvick's bunch, they've really worked hard on this. I'm kind of watching him early in this race. It looks like he's got speed in the car, and it actually is maybe catching some of the guys in front of him. It's another Harvick car with Paul Menard behind the wheel in the 33 this week.
First time we've seen Paul in the Nationwide Series this year.
Whoa, look at Casey Kane get out today. Man.
Casey runs it up the hill and gathers it back up.
Casey driving one of the Steve Turner cars we talked about in our Countdown show. Real pretty cars, all brand new. And Casey loves driving for this team, and I told him earlier, I said, I think that Casey Kane's the type of guy that can win this race, because when this track gets slick and he's got to move to the top, Andy, I don't know of any better driver that can run that top lane and run fast.
Casey's going to turn 31 on Sunday. He has his hands full here.
He bombs it down in the corner really hard. Car really jumps out from under him, but he catches it. He's really good at, like you said, Rusty, he's really good at catching his car when it's getting loose, and did a good job right there.
And you heard, if you were with us in Countdown, he's a former winner here at the Texas. Won back in April of 2005. 4 winners are in the race tonight. There is Carl Edwards going around Morgan Shepherd, putting Morgan a lap down. He's in 37th. There's your top 5 after 10 of 200 laps here at Texas. Just as we come back to Texas Motor Speedway, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has gotten around the 22 of Brad Keselowski, and he is 1.3 seconds behind Carl Edwards. Another car that is on the move is now in 4th place, and that is Kyle Busch. He's another 2 seconds behind this duo, and here comes Keselowski saying, I'd like to take that position back, thank you.
I think he's going to be able to do it, though. Stenhouse got a good run. Starting to march to the front now.
Talking about Kyle Busch earlier in our show, what Kenny figured out. He's been complaining about this car a little bit, but his speeds right now are just as fast as the leader, Carl Edwards. But right there, the 6 car, Ricky Stenhouse, he's got a good handle on the car, but his teammate, Trevor Bayne, is really complaining, having a lot of problems with his 16 car. Bottom of that splitter out loose all over the racetrack right now. A lot of complaining going out of the teammate.
Yeah, Bayne has dropped back to the 13th position. And let's set it for you. Edwards, Stenhouse, Keselowski are your top 3. Kyle Busch, Elliott Sadler round out your top 5. Then it's Paul Menard, Kasey Kahne, Joey Logano, David Rudiman, and Eric Almirola. And that's your top 10. Okay, we mentioned Trevor Bayne. There he is. And Jamie, he's fallen like a rock. What's the problem?
Well, the problems are getting worse for the 16. This is what Trevor said on the radio moments ago.
I copy on all that. Keep doing the best you can there.
Terrible is what I heard there. He's already lost 7 positions since the start of the race. We're just 18 laps in. Right now, the pit window looking to be between laps 40 and 50. Marty, he's got to hold on a little while longer.
Well, he's holding on pretty good because he's coming up on Justin Allgaier.
Well, of the 2 things he's got going on, that looseness will probably get better as the race goes on and the run goes on.
I can't run the bottom. When I try to turn in, the back end just goes out from under it.
But that splitter hitting, that's something he's going to have to maybe address later.
Well, his worst finish here in 3 starts is 14th, and it was this race just last year.
He's talking about running the top of the racetrack, that he can't run the bottom. It's just a bigger radius up on top of the track, and it's not, the car just handles better up there. Sometimes it's slower, but we saw in qualifying today where Carl Edwards actually qualified on the top of the track, something we hardly ever see, but we saw it today.
You see Reed Sorensen getting passed by his Turner Motorsports teammate, and now Trevor Bayne is going around Reed. Just a couple of races ago, Sorensen was the points leader, but he's dropped to 5th in the last 2 races. Right side of your screen, battle for 6 between Paul Menard and Kasey Kahne. How about it, Dave Burns?
The 32 car of Reed Sorensen, guys, we were looking at right there, going backwards, way too loose in the middle. That means when he tries to turn that steering wheel, that back end just wants to come right around.
And as you mentioned, he has dropped back now, 13th position. In fact, Sam Hornish Jr. is closing on him for that position. Right side of your screen, Kahne has opened up a bit of ground now on Menard.
Really interested who can keep up with this track the best with all these big changes going on in the temperature and getting dark out here. I really think it's going to change everything. And
yeah, look right here. You see Ricky Stenhouse now is right on the back bumper of Carl Edwards. Going to see the speeds at the line.
And the reason is the last lap, a 31.5 to a 31.2 for Ricky Stenhouse, and here he comes.
Yeah, he's on the move.
Remember when he took over 2nd place from Keselowski, the lead was 1.3. Are you hearing anything on the 60 car, Dave?
Just that he's a little bit loose. One thing that did go away for Carl is that there was some paper on the grill early in the race. That was setting the temperatures up, but that's gone now, and so's his teammate Stenhouse.
Yeah, I was going to say, so's the lead. There's the speeds at the line, and as you would expect, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the fastest. Kasey Kahne, 2nd quick that lap. And here comes Carl right back. So the 2 Roush Fenway teammates going after each other.
But you got to wonder if Carl's going to give him a break right now like he just did. I mean, Ricky's going for the points, and if he gets up there, leads a lap, and gets an extra point, that's a good thing. And if he got it, Ricky might just say, okay, Carl, go back to the front, go back to leading this thing, but at least I got my points. Teammates do that, Andy.
Yeah, they do. I'm just wondering if that is what happened. We'll see here if Stenhouse maintains the lead or gives it back to Carl.
Well, Stenhouse has led more races in the 6 events this year than he did in all of 2010. Gives you an idea just how much of a turnaround he has had.
Kyle puts that bottom seam separating the first lane, second lane. He puts it under his car into 3 and carries that line all the way around the corner.
All right, that's Brad's team telling him what Kyle is doing.
Yeah, they're just talking about the line because, you know, they're seeing what these other cars are doing. That's good information for a driver to have, what other guys are doing to make speed.
Anytime a driver can move all around the racetrack and try to find the most comfortable area and the fastest area, that's what he needs to do. And a lot of times he needs some help doing it.
Vince, what are you hearing from Kyle's camp?
Well, it's interesting that you guys brought that conversation up because that was just the conversation that Kyle Busch had with his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe. Kyle asking Jason, what are the leaders saying, referring to Ricky Stenhouse and Carl Edwards, wanting to know the characteristics that their car are experiencing 25, 26 laps in. And Ratcliffe came back on the radio to Kyle and said, I'm listening, but they're not saying a word. Normally, guys, you tell me, but if you're not talking much, chances are the car's handling pretty good.
Yeah, if you're not talking on the radio, you're pretty happy with your car, because if you're not happy with it, you've got to let them know.
Well, Kyle has gotten around. Can he seal it here coming out of the corner? Yes, he will take over the spot. So move Kyle up to third. Remember, he started this race in 8th. We've been lean, mean, and green for all 27 laps that we've completed.
I don't know if anybody does a better job of moving around on the racetrack and finding what makes their car neutral or gets it where it can make speed than Kyle Busch. He finds a way to make his car fast.
Here comes Carl Edwards again, and boy, he's making it look easy. Ricky sort of eased up on the pedal a little bit and said, okay, you're faster, I'm going to let you go.
Now, if they did swap this lead for points, you'll see now everything's even. So now we'll see if Stenhouse can actually take the lead back on his own.
Well said. I do think it was the points. I mean, if I was his teammate, if I was Carl Edwards, and I knew my teammate was right behind me, and I'm racing for points, and I'm not, heck yeah, give him the points. Let him get it right now. Because through pit stops, he might not have an opportunity to do that. I think that was a good move for Carl to do for Ricky.
Well, Roush Fenway Racing is running 1-2, and they have 13 NASCAR wins here at Texas. 7 in Cup, 5 in the Nationwide Series, and 1 in the Truck Series. And there's your top 5 after 29 of 200 laps. Carl's been king of the pole so far this year, but he has yet to taste victory lane. Is tonight the night?
ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues Sunday and Monday night. First on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, it's the AL East rivalry at Fenway. Mark Teixeira looks to continue his hot spring. The Yankees take on the Boston Red Sox, who finally got off the schneid in their home opener today. Then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball, another AL East rivalry. It's B.J. Upton returning at Fenway. Carl Crawford taking on his old team for the first time, the Rays and the Red Sox, on Monday Night Baseball. It's Major League Baseball ESPN Sunday and Monday nights. At Texas Motor Speedway, Carl Edwards is the race leader. He started on the pole. He's led 30 of the 35 laps. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is right behind him in second. He's the only other guy that's led so far. Brad Keselowski started second in that 22 car. He's just dropped back to the 6th position. Elliott Sadler getting by him. Keeping an eye on that 22 car and seeing if he's just playing it conservative to keep him bouncing off of something.
Yeah, it slowed down there just a little bit, and it's kind of interesting. But as you look up front, Edwards and Stenhouse are racing really hard. The guy I'm keeping an eye on, though, is Kyle Busch in that 3rd position. He's only a little under a second and a half behind. He's the fastest car on the racetrack. Interesting to watch him get back in this mix. He is coming.
All right, coming up on a set of pit stops, which fuel-wise could go as far as 45 laps if we stay under the green, but handling-wise, with some of these guys kind of swat and flies.
One more update down the front here.
Inside the cars.
Now we're going to pit this time. We're going to pit this time.
That is the radio of Brad Keselowski, who again has dropped back to the 6th position. So we'll see if he indeed does come to pit road for a very early pit stop. Marty, Rusty, and Andy, this would be really early.
Well, and he is dropping like a rock. I mean, he's 32.6 on his last lap, and that's been his best lap in the last few, and he is coming to pit road.
Well, don't forget, this team has blown a lot of right front tires this year, and probably a little bit gun shy if he's got a problem here. He wants to get on pit road.
Tell you how bad a year it is. If he was eligible for the championship, he'd be 14th in points right now. That's how bad a season has been for last year's champion in the Nationwide Series. Doc, he's heading your way.
Absolutely been a tough start for the reigning series champion, Brad Keselowski. He said the car's been so loose trying to get in and has gotten looser getting off. Now, I've heard a lot of guys out here complaining of vibrations on the right side of the car. Brad has not said that, but he said the handling has just gone away. So one of the questions we had, what will happen when it gets dark? The track has gotten faster and much looser. Marty.
15.5 on the time as he pulls on down. It's 45 miles an hour, and don't get caught speeding.
Marty, I think about risk versus reward when I'm thinking about Brad Keselowski. You got to remember, he's not going for the points. The big money for him is the Cup race tomorrow. He crashes his car today. It's not a good move. I like what he did just then, coming in, making sure there's not a problem.
Well, his first 2 races this year were 30th and 34th place. You can see the difference in last year to this year and where he's averaged out. His last 3 races have been better, a 3rd at Las Vegas, 9th at Bristol, and a 10th at Fontana, but still nowhere near the kind of performance that he had last year. Kyle Busch is closing on Ricky Stenhouse. This is 1.1 seconds behind the race lead that Carl Edwards now holds. And Kyle, you guys talked about it in Countdown. You thought he'd figure it out. Looks like they have.
Well, he's one of the best guys at just changing lines, like Andy said, and moving all around the racetrack. And now his car's pretty well stabilized the handling on his first pit stop now. I'm sure they'll make some changes and stay up with the racetrack as it cools down.
Coming up on Robert Richardson in the 23. He's a Texas native. He's in 33rd position right now. He is 2 laps down. And while we point that out, a couple other cars have gone behind the wall. Morgan Shepherd and also the 79 of Tim Andrews. So that gets you updated on what's happening at the rear of the field. And all of a sudden, Ricky Stenhouse is losing contact. He's fallen a full half second behind Kyle Busch. And of course, we've got pit stops coming, including for that man, our race leader, Carl Edwards. But Kyle Busch has clawed his way up to that 2nd position after 42 of 200 at Texas. Green flag pit stops are occurring. Paul Menard has pulled in at the top end of the track, and there he is getting service on all 4 and a full load of Sunoco fuel. Also, the 20 of Joey Logano is in. Vince.
He was 2nd in this race last year, top 5 in both Texas Nationwide races a year ago. It's just too loose all the way through the corner. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and an air pressure adjustment for Joey Logano. The 12 of Sam Hornish Jr. Hornish says he about spun it out of turn 4 twice already. Said it's just getting lower in and off the turns. He's put 3.5 rounds of brake into it. It's not helped a bit. Rear wedge, left rear, 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and an air pressure adjustment for the 12 of Sam Hornish, Marty.
Right side of your screen, that saw the 31 of Justin Allgaier go around our race leader, Carl Edwards. Reason for that is he's already made his pit stop. He's on fresh tires. Doc.
30 car on pit road, making everyone is wanting more and more grip on the race car. The track has just gotten so loose. They want to just add overall grip with air pressure. Jamie.
And Casey Kane, too, saying he's so loose, he just doesn't have enough grip. They made a wedge adjustment, 4 tires for the 38.
Boy, and
David Rudiman, they want to add the pound of air in the right front, drop the track bar. He said it's loose in, but very snug in the middle of the corner. Rudiman's first Nationwide start of the year. Vince.
The 18 of Kyle Busch hasn't been great, but his average is better than almost everybody else's. He said it's just a little bit tight in the center, not bad in 3 and 4. They're going to make it a slight air pressure adjustment on the 18 of Kyle Busch. The 2 car of Elliott Sadler is also making his way into the pits. Sadler says the car's just been too loose into the center. He's using up the right rear and needs some help with the balance of the race car. They're going to go down on the track bar a couple of rounds. An air pressure adjustment also. Dave Burns.
Carl Edwards gives up the lead and comes down to the first or the last as you look at it. Pit stall on pit road. It'll be an air pressure adjustment in 4 tires. The car was a little bit loose early, a little bit loose at the end, but not so much that he couldn't drive it. Behind him, his teammate Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gives up 3rd place. Ricky's car needed rear grip. He also was a little bit free off the center of the from the center of the corner off. They make air and wedge adjustments for Ricky, and they're still on pit road. Slow stop, Jamie.
And Trevor Bayne came in wet. Remember, he was struggling with his car early, extremely loose. They came in, they made some major air pressure adjustments all the way around. A wedge adjustment, hopefully going to help young Trevor Bayne out in the 16 car.
62 of Michael Annett also in for his first scheduled pit stop, and they'll go 4 tires and a full load of fuel. All this happening under the green flag conditions. We have been green all 52 laps so far here at Texas Motor Speedway. And your race leader is still shown after cycling through the 60 of Carl Edwards. Just got word from NASCAR, the 01 of Mike Wallace is going to have to do a pass-through. Too fast entering.
Too fast entering. Too fast entering. There's no way. No way.
How many times have we heard that? So Mike is going to have to come back through and serve his penalty. We have right now 18 cars on the lead lap. Right now it's Carl Edwards by 1.8 seconds over Brad Keselowski. Let's go to a Jackman Mike Klein. Listen in on the stop of the 30 car.
Almost a quarter of the distance into tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Texas Motor Speedway. Carl Edwards has been the dominator. Started on pole, got the lead early, gave it up for a few laps, got it back, and has been working hard behind the wheel of that Roush Fenway Racing Ford Mustang. Edwards out in front by 2.9 seconds as he completes the 60th of 200 laps in tonight's race. Caution free so far. Kyle Busch just took second place from Brad Keselowski, and you see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has fallen to fourth position after the exchange of pit stops. He's the NASCAR Nationwide Series championship leader entering tonight's race. Down in the pit studio, Bestwick and Brad watching Carl really work hard behind the wheel, but be fast.
Yeah, I mean, he has really got it figured out tonight, and as you look behind him, I mean, he's leaving these guys in his wake. It's either the have or the have-nots if you look at this field. Guys have either got it figured out, they've figured out how to keep that splitter off the ground, getting their cars to turn, or they're just out to lunch. So he is definitely on rails right now. And Kyle Busch is trying to run him down, but you see he's 3 seconds behind.
Kyle actually losing a little bit of ground in that last set of pit stops where the 18 has generally picked up ground on a lot of their pit stops. So Carl Edwards and company got it going on tonight here in Fort Worth. We go upstairs to Marty Reed, Rusty Wallace, and Andy Petrie. Gentlemen, it's been Carl over Kyle so far.
All right, thanks, Alan. And let's update you on a couple of other penalties. Jennifer Jo Cobb had a rolling tire. Chandel, it was too fast, and Derek Cope had removed equipment problems. So those three also had penalties, and you continue to watch Kyle Busch right now as he continues to try and work closer. Let's move farther back, catch up on 9th place. Remember when Justin Allgaier pitted during the commercial? He has been on the move, guys. I mean, he is up to 9th right now, duking it out with Elliott Sadler.
It looks like he's one of the guys that made his pit stop and made some adjustments, and the adjustments they made, the car seems to really react to it, made it better. And he's marching this baby to the front right now. His times are really good. In fact, his last time by exactly the same speed as the leader, Carl Edwards.
And you can see he is pulling away from Elliott right now. We have 16 cars still on the lead lap. Check back in once again with Carl Edwards. The lead is 2.6 seconds. Second place is Kyle Busch, and Kyle just turned the fastest lap that last lap. And third place is Brad Keselowski in the 22. Then in fourth place is the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Way loose. It went from one extreme to the other.
Where did it freed up the most? Entry?
Everywhere.
All right, all you got to do is hang on to it until we get you fixed up. Just be smart here.
Don't you love it? They make it sound so easy for you drivers. Just hang on to it.
Well, I mean, what they're doing is they were trying to free him up. They just went too far. You said it went from one extreme to the other. He is going to just have to hang on to it because there's nothing the crew can do till they can get their hands on the car on a pit stop.
They just got to maneuver the car around the racetrack. If he's loose, he's just got to go to the top of the racetrack, try to make that radius bigger, and get the car handling bigger. He's got to search around right now to make the best of a bad situation.
Well, let's find out now that we've had these pit stops on what's happening with a lot of our cars. Let's start with fourth place, Ricky Stenhouse. Let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance, and Dave Burns, you're up.
And Marty, this marks the 1-year anniversary for Ricky Stenhouse working with crew chief Mike Kelly. It was last year here. Remember when we raced on Monday? Yeah, most of us do. They finished down in the pack because Ricky crashed on lap 169. But earlier in the weekend, Mike told Ricky that he'd built the race car to be driven wide open into turn 3 on the first lap of practice and that he could trust it. So, go do it. He did it, and that's where trust was born between these two. And I think here at Texas, between Ricky and the Speedway, too. Jamie?
Well, Dave, you know, these guys qualified just a couple hours before this race started. Casey Kane was one guy who jumped out of his car. It was so loose, his hands were shaking. He was trembling trying to hold on to this car. Guess what? Things haven't gotten much better. They made some adjustments on the last stop, but he's saying the car is actually worse now on sticker tires. It's still loose. He still doesn't have it under control. Now, right behind him is the 33 of Paul Menard, making his first start in the Nationwide Series, and we have an accident on the track, guys. The 23 is around, Marty.
Robert Richardson has brought out our first caution.
All right, fire up, get her going. No contact, Walter.
Lap 69 as the flag comes out. If you're wondering, the longest green flag stretch to start a race here, 83 laps back in 2006. And they were saying no damage, but Sparks looks like they're damaged.
Well, he's going to have some damage getting his car back to the pits. He didn't hit anything, which is good, but he does have some damage possibly coming with this flat tire coming to the pit.
Think you had a tire going in there, bud?
Oh, just whenever that car got in front of me, it got loose getting in. Whenever that car, passed me, and I was chasing it up the racetrack. Once I got up top, I couldn't save it.
Let's go back and take another look and see exactly what happened.
He's high on the racetrack right there. It looks like he enters high, gets way up into the dirt right there, into the rough part of the track where there's a lot of debris. Right rear tire gets in it. He spins, keeps it locked down, which is a good thing. He's staying on the brake, keeps the car from going back up the track, releases it now, then back on it. But looks like to me, Andy, he just got in hot, got up high, got the right rear tire in the dirty part of the track, I call it.
Now, we saw a lot of cars get loose after that pit stop. The 6 car of Stenhouse, he was out of control loose after they made that pit stop and made an adjustment on his car, and that could have been the same thing with Richardson.
Well, you got to believe this is a good thing for Stenhouse, Kane. A lot of these drivers complaining big time that their car's not right after that last pit stop. So let them get caught back up now, because Carl Edwards was just, that dude was walking a dog, man. He was out of here.
Well, it's really big also for Eric Almirola. He was the first car, 1 lap down. He's 15th. He'll be back on the lead lap when we go back to green flag racing. So the guys from Roush Fenway up on the wall. They're getting ready.
Well, one thing we talked about was when this track got cooler and faster, would it go looser or tighter? And I think that's a lot of people now have that answer, and they can start adjusting their cars accordingly.
I tell you, back in the old days when that track would get cooler, it always got tighter. I mean, every single time. And if I think that way now, I'm always wrong.
I know. These cars are just different today. I mean, these new cars react different to different temperature changes and different people's packages. I mean, what they're running for springs and shocks might make their car get tighter when it gets cooler. Other cars might get looser, so you just never know.
Now, remember, 3rd place, Brad Keselowski, he was forced to pit back on lap 38. And then the leaders pitted on lap 51 and 50, respectively, that being Carl and Kyle. So this gets him back on cycle.
That was a defensive move for that team because they have had so many problems with that right front. And when Brad felt something in it, he just wanted to get down pit road and get that tire off before they crashed the car.
Well, they've made their turn down pit road. Let's send it to Jamie Little on the 38 of Casey Kane.
Well, as I said, Casey Kane not happy with the car. Big adjustments this time. Right side rubber in. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. 4 more tires. He needs it fixed. Now, the 33 of Paul Menard, he's happy. He said the car is a good free right now. 4 sticker tires on the 33. And we're going to go to the triple pits. Dr. Jared Punch.
And top of your screen, David Rudiman said the car is still quite loose coming into the corner. They're going to make an adjustment on air pressure and a chassis adjustment at the top of your screen. Vince, how about Kyle Busch?
It's a 4-tire change for Busch with an air pressure adjustment. They want to just free him up a tick in the center of the corner.
Dave, in this new loosening race cars, as you see the race off of pit road, which Kyle Busch is going to win, Carl Edwards' team was going to put 2 rounds of wedge in the left rear. It's like Edwards was actually the winner, to take a car that was a little bit loose and make it quite a bit tighter to see how far they had to go tonight, guys.
Well, according to the stats, you're right. Carl Edwards was first off, although from our angle here, it did look like Kyle was going to be first off pit road. You see the big winner was Paul Menard as he picked up 2, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. lost 1 in the exchange. And there's Eric Almirola at the bottom of your screen, and the Hellman's number 88. He gets the free pass, as we mentioned. Now let's watch the Jackman here.
Oh, it gets on the air hose and just about falls down. Does a good job of recovering, though, to have a good, quick pit stop.
Let's check the race off again. Now, here is the line, and yep,
Carl
there
Edwards.
Carl is.
Okay.
There's also another line down there. It's a speed line that they have to maintain speed, and that looked like where Kyle may have beaten him.
So, things are about where we left them off. Two familiar guys up front.
What? Pick it up, okay?
Back here at Texas Motor Speedway, it's Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Paul Menard, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., your top 5. 8 waiver rounds. Bliss, Clements, Wise, Stephen Wallace, Wimmer, Starr, Mike Wallace, Eric McClure. The 38 of Casey Kane, too fast exiting. He's at the back of the field. Here we go. We're back to green flag racing on lap 74. Carl carries the momentum out of turn 2. He likes that high side restart, but here comes Kyle right back on him, guys.
Yeah, look at Paul Menard, though, on the top side of the racetrack. I mean, he really got a good restart, and he's been doing a great job all year long in that Cup car. His first attempt at the Nationwide looking good now. He's just dogging old Kyle Busch right there. Keselowski underneath him. Big race down into turn 1.
Keselowski, you're on board with him as he goes underneath the 33 of Menard.
It's a great reset for a lot of teams to try to catch Carl Edwards because he has had the best car.
3 wide, a little bit farther back. That's Reed Sorensen in the 32. The meat in that sandwich is Trevor Bayne, and he's got 5 cars around him.
Yeah, look at Sam. Look at Sam Hornish in that 12 car dig on the bottom.
Hey, Sam Hornish, he could drive a loose race car. We've seen him in those Cup cars just driving when they're all out of control and not handling good. But, Mike, I'm wondering right now, though, what's going on with Trevor Bayne? Is he getting his car fixed up? Because he's been complaining the whole race about it.
Right now, Bayne is running in the 12th position. There you see the 2 Turner Motorsports teammates, Justin Allgaier in the 31, and Reed Sorensen in the 32. That is 8th and 9th. Sam Hornish Jr. in the 12 right behind them. Side by side, Jason Leffler in the 30, trying to go underneath the 11 of Brian Scott.
You know, watching the way these cars are handling, Andy, how they're slipping and sliding a little bit. This particular tire they've got on this car, they got a lot of experience with. They ran this tire last year, all 4 tires at Homestead, Florida. And it was really good down there. The drivers liked it. They brought that same tire here. And I believe the drivers got a lot of confidence in this tire. We've had some tire issues, minor ones this year. A lot of confidence in this tire.
Yeah, there's still a lot of unknowns, you know, with the track temp changing so rapidly on them. This is the first time they've had this car here, so they're learning a lot about this car as we go. This learning curve is very steep in the beginning. It still looks like Carl Edwards has the best car. I know Kyle won't give up trying to chase him, though.
You know, we talked earlier about which outfit really got a better handle on this new Nationwide car, and you got to admit that Roush is really nailed it right now. Everybody else is playing catch-up. This has been a really, really hard car to figure out.
But the irony is they have yet to win a race in the Ford in the series so far since they came to this new car. You're right, they've done better with the horsepower and the qualifying performance. They just haven't been able to quite seal the deal. Well, we've knocked down 79 laps, or actually 78. We're working lap 79. There is your top 5 here at Texas, the great American Speedway.
What's a hut?
Working the green flag in tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at Texas Motor Speedway. And looking ahead for a moment to NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, ESPN2. Get you ready for tomorrow night's Sprint Cup Series race here in Fort Worth. Then our Monday Roundtable, presented by Shell Nitrogen, wraps the race up, the race weekend up, 5 Eastern Time, ESPN2 on Monday. Next week, Nationwide Series on to Talladega.
Sir.
The Aaron's 312, Saturday at 2 Eastern on ESPN2. And the Straightliners, the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals, qualifying next Saturday at 6 Eastern, ESPN2. The finals next Sunday at 7 Eastern, that the 4-Wide Nationals from Charlotte. From the pit studio, watching the 2 guys who have dominated this NASCAR Nationwide Series for the most part in recent times. Carl Edwards, your leader, looking back on second place Kyle Busch. Carl and Kyle have finished 13 times in a Nationwide Series race. Kyle's won 9 of the 13. Carl's trying to change that, but that 18 car's hanging right with him since the restart.
He's right in his tracks. I think Kyle's just riding around looking for a couple of different lines, trying to find out where he can get the most grip in his race car, trying to get comfortable. He's got him in his sights. Carl is still blistering fast.
Remember, Kasey Kahne had the pit road speeding penalty under the last set of pit stops. It knocked him from 5th to 16th. Kahne trying to pick his way back forward. He just took 10th position away from Sam Hornish Jr. That is Kahne in the 38 car. Right now, since the restart, the biggest mover on the track.
We see Kyle Busch put a little more pressure on Carl. Carl's down the bottom of the racetrack. Kyle running that high line, trying to keep that car wound up, use a little momentum, and he pulls right up to the back bumper of Carl Edwards.
Closer, closer, closer. You know, when they first opened it, look out!
Oh, man!
Tim Schendel in the 52 has a problem right in front of the leaders, and Kyle Busch is heavily damaged.
Wow, and I think Carl Edwards got into him as well.
My goodness.
Oh, man, oh, man. Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what I just said.
Sorry, man.
Terrible.
Golly, what is he doing out there?
You know, it looked like Carl Edwards got into him as well, AB.
Or he clipped Carl possibly on the way by, but something happened to the 52 car that shot him up the racetrack right as the leaders were going to his outside to put him a lap down. And the result is that Kyle Busch has a very wrinkled up Toyota.
Wow.
Marty, Rusty, Andy, didn't see that one coming, did you?
Oh, that was a tough one right there, but it's pretty obvious. The 52 car blew a right front tire right in front of everybody. Still had him in front of him. Tim Schendel did a great job holding on all he could, but he blew that right front, right in front of Kyle Busch. Take a look at the replay.
Yeah, they're just going down in the corner. They don't think anything. This car's going extremely slow, but then right here is where Schendel blows that right front. You see the sparks flying, and Kyle just know where to go. I mean, that was just he was just an innocent victim.
I have not seen something like that in a long time. Kyle Busch, that just happened to him out of the clear blue. Just scraped down the left side of Carl Edwards there, Marty.
Yeah, and the bad news for Kyle, think about this. He has been in the top 2 in the last 7 races here, including that streak of 5 wins in a row. That's the longest streak ever at a track in the Nationwide Series. Ouch.
Yeah, nothing the spotter or anybody could do right there. It was just a circumstance that nobody could avoid.
Look at
disappointment,
Jason.
though.
He can't believe it either. I don't think anybody can actually believe it, but it did happen.
Here comes Menard. He's making a pit stop.
Paul Menard is going to come in for a pit stop. Several others, including Ricky Stenhouse, is going to follow.
It's pretty surprising that Carl Edwards stayed out there.
Jamie?
And Paul Menard's car has been pretty good. He said, let's just make a small adjustment. They went up on the track bar 1 round, 4 tires, Dave.
And guys, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. said, I am a 10 loose. That's on a 10 scale. I need this car adjusted. They don't want to burn the tires right now. They'll leave those on, but they want a big chassis adjustment to top him off with fuel. Vince?
The 2 of Elliott Sadler has just been wicked loose. They have thrown some pretty significant swings at this car, but it's just not happening. You see him underneath making adjustments. Elliott Sadler says, you got to snug me up. This is a place he loves, but he hasn't loved that race car tonight.
Remember Dr. Jerry Punch at the beginning of the broadcast said, guys were in disagreement whether the track would tighten up or loosen up, and if you guessed wrong, you had your hands full. The doctor was right on that prescription.
Andy, the biggest surprise I've seen right now is going back to Carl Edwards. He pitted on lap 70. It's going to be lap 90. He's leaving 20 laps on the table for fuel. Is that a smart thing?
Well, I think it is for track position. It's not a bad move. They don't get to put tires on here.
On board with Carl.
He wrecked that 18 behind you there. He wrecked that 18. Yellow is out. Good job. Did he get you? Negative. Holy moly.
Well, there's Kyle as he is heading towards the hauler, and obviously extremely disappointed in a deal that he couldn't have escaped. In fact, Superman couldn't have gotten out of that mess. Looking down from high above here at the Great American Speedway, Texas Motor Speedway, we've knocked down 91 of the 200 laps, and Kyle Busch got knocked down when Tim Schendel goes hard towards the wall after blowing a right front tire. And let's take another look at it as we are under our second caution.
Let's take a look at this accident going into turn 1, Rector. Tim Schendel blows a right front tire right there. Here comes Kyle Busch. Kyle's got nowhere to go. I mean, Kyle had to be thinking, what in the world just happened right here? But it was such an instantaneous move. In fact, Tim Schnell got the left rear quarter panel of Carl. A little bit right there.
Yeah, but Carl did a great job there to try to make, avoid the contact. He did get a little bit, but nothing Kyle could do.
No.
I don't think so. I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and I didn't look right. I saw him coming. Been eating my carrots. Man, that's too bad for Kyle. That was going to be a good race, you guys. Let's help them if we can.
Unfortunately, I don't think there's enough help.
No, can't help that.
Let's get an update on the 18. What's happening back in the garage area, Vince?
Well, you can see the damage, and this is twofold. Number one, Kyle Busch out of the race and certainly takes away one of the winning contenders for sure. But also, this team was top of the leaderboard in the owners' points. In the owners' championship, very important to these teams here in this garage. So it's a big blow for the 18. They are done for the night. Kyle Busch has gone into the hauler. He did say that he would come back out and address the media. We'll be here when he does.
As it stands right now, to follow up on that owners' point situation, they drop out of the top 5 because of this crash.
Marty, I tell you what, I was really impressed how Kyle Busch was getting his car handling better and better throughout the event. His team and him did a great job working on this car at this track.
All right, let's reset it for you. It's Edwards, Keselowski, Logano, Ruderman, Allgaier. That's your top 5. Jason Leffler got the free pass. He is the 17th and final car on the lead lap, and we're back to green flag racing in Texas. Carl took the high side again, and boy, Keselowski gets a great jump on him. Ruderman's way up high in the 99.
I see Stenhouse getting aggressive in that outside lane also.
So Keselowski takes advantage for the first time. The low side takes the lead.
I'll tell you, look at Ruderman on the very bottom of the track. Getting underneath Sam Hornish, racing with him.
Joey Logano has now moved into second place. All of a sudden, he's sparked to life here.
Pardon me, as Reed Sorensen in the 32. Apologize for that.
And the first time today that we've seen Carl Edwards as far back as 3rd.
This guy's drive, this restarts like it's a qualifying lap, like there's 3 laps to go in the race. They got to do it because they got the good on the tires. A lot of grip. They try to make up all the positions they can. That's the reason you see him running so hard. First corner, 3 wide, 4 wide, stuff like that.
I spent some time with Mike Beam, and he was talking about heat cycles on these tires, how they would come back, you cool them down and go back out again, and they would change the way the car drove. And I believe that's exactly what Carl is struggling with right here.
Oh, look at Ruderman getting way high. Whoa! So far up in the gray.
I mean, you want to get high, but when that dirt starts flying out from underneath that car, you got to know it's still a little dirty. Your spotter's saying, hey, buddy, that was a little too high right there.
Well, managed to gather it back up, but it cost him a few spots. And see at the bottom of your screen, the 2 Turner teammates going past. Then there's Stenhouse trying to hold off the 32 of Sorensen.
I believe it's the other way around. I think Stenhouse has got a good run here on the outside. Looks like he's been making some ground to the front.
He's clear now as we go on board with him. And you notice there was some damage on the right side of the 32 from a little bit earlier.
Hey, watching Ricky Stenhouse's car, it really rides the bump real abruptly. You see that car bouncing around real hard. A lot of the other cars are a little bit smoother than his car is. And a lot of times, if you keep that splitter, they'll low to the ground. That's faster. Lower it goes, the faster the car goes. And when it gets low, sometimes it gets too rigid and too bumpy.
Those 5 cars continue to work their way around this 1.5-mile oval. And Ruderman now down on the low side. I guess that last rim ride was enough to convince him he had to get a little lower.
Yeah, tell you what, Ruderman, he has not been in this car in a long time, and he's doing a whale of a job.
Word is that 12 of Sam Hornish Jr. is going to head for pit road because he has a flat.
4 tires, no fuel. 4 tires, no fuel. Don't worry about fuel.
Vince?
Sam Hornish Jr. had a tire going down. He said he felt the vibration, but he wasn't sure which tire it was, so they are going to make that 4-tire change. It's a big race for Sam Hornish Jr., a driver who was full-time in Cup a year ago, part-time in Nationwide this season, Alliance Truck Parts as a sponsor. This is a big race for Hornish personally and this team in his bid to show that he is capable of making his way through the Nationwide Series and back to the Cup Series, so a tough blow for the 12 team.
Well, they didn't take any fuel either in that situation.
Well, they just weren't in a window to take fuel. They just wanted to get the tires changed and get back out and not wait on it.
Hornish was 13th at the time of that tire issue, and Right now, you see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has got his hands full with Paul Menard, and Stenhouse has lost another spot because Eric Almirola got around him while we were watching Sam Hornish Jr.'s issue.
Hey, Marty, with Sam Hornish Jr. coming down pit road, it looked like the right front tire was still up, but the front of the car was laying on the ground, like maybe something might have broke. It didn't look like that tire was flat, just looking at it from up here.
Here comes Sorensen taking a run underneath the 6 of Stenhouse. They're side by side through the corner. Meanwhile, we'll let you know up front, Brad Keselowski still in front of Joey Logano by a full second. This is the best action we've got on the racetrack right now. And these guys still knocking on each other. Here's the second place battle heating up because Carl Edwards coming back on a run on Joey Logano. And there's Kasey Kahne. Remember when Kasey was 16th back on lap 73 at the restart because of the penalty? Here he is running 4th and knocking on the door for 3rd.
Well, they got caught with that pit road penalty, and they came back to pit road, made some adjustments on the car, and looks like they've helped it a lot.
Yeah, this car's looking much, much better. You saw him run up in the back of Joey Logano a little while ago. He had a lot of momentum. Kasey likes running up about the middle to the top of this track. We'll stay keeping an eye on him and see how he's getting to the front, because that 38 car of Kasey Kahne is motoring down that back straightaway and getting into turn 3 with a lot of speed.
Well, those 3 are a full second behind race leader Brad Keselowski, and we've passed halfway. We've knocked down 102 of 200 laps. Brad Keselowski, it's been a rough nationwide season so far. Does he snap out of the doldrums tonight?
Why?
ESPN's 2 coverage of Major League Soccer continues Saturday night as the Philadelphia Union take on the New York Red Bulls. It's Major League Soccer presented by Adidas on ESPN2 and ESPN3.com. That's Saturday at 7 Eastern. Race lead is held by Brad Keselowski, at least for the moment, but here comes Carl Edwards as he storms back to the front, as all of a sudden Carl's car has found a new life after that last round of stops. Keselowski's second, Kasey Kahne is up to 3rd, Joey Logano is 4th, and Eric Almirola rounds out your top 5. We've had 3 different leaders and now 4 lead changes. Edwards has led the most at 88 laps.
Yeah, Edwards is for sure the fastest car out there. That time by about 0.4 of a second faster than the second place car of Keselowski. He's got the speed back, cycled through pit stops, and he's after it again.
Well, Edwards has led more today than he had in his first 12 starts here at Texas combined. So after winning here back in November, he's fallen in love with this place. So there's the top 2. How far back is 3rd place? About 1.3 seconds in the 38 of Kasey Kahne. And a little bit farther back, we find Joey Logano in 4th, then Eric Almirola, Justin Allgaier, Menard, and Ricky Stenhouse, who has been struggling mightily. What's the latest you're hearing, Dave Burns?
Marty, he pitted under that last caution to make his race car more drivable. They didn't change tires. It worked for a little while. He passed 4 cars. Then he lost a couple of spots and had this exchange with veteran spotter Mike Kalinoff.
Just hit your marks here.
Easier said than done.
All right, listen to me. Listen to me. Don't be driving pissed off, okay? Just pay attention to what you're doing here. We'll get the car fixed. We're at halfway, okay? You just be smart. Don't give this thing away. Just be smart. We got lots of time. We get what's going on here. We heard you the 30th time. All right? We'll get you fixed up.
Veteran spotter working with young driver trying to keep him in the game. The car is very loose right now. Marty.
All right, thanks a lot. You're right. Veteran is the key word there, talking to the young driver.
Yeah, but I want to tell you something. This car is extremely loose, and he's just hanging on to it. It's hard to hit your marks when the car's that loose.
He's 5.7 seconds behind the race lead. Well, Vince is caught up with Kyle Busch, who's a disappointed young man. Vince?
Yeah, the Z-Line Designs Camry kept getting better and better going toward the front, Kyle. What are the odds of what happened? How do you sum up the way the evening ended for you?
We crashed. That's about it. That's what it's going to go down in the notebook as, you know. But we had a good car. I mean, the guys did a great job. From when we unloaded, we were a little off this weekend, and we made so many changes that we got lost at one point, but we got a lot better. So real happy with the way the guys worked together this weekend, and we got the car going a lot better. The Z-Line Designs Camry was fast right there. You know, we were running Carl down and almost got up alongside of him there one time, and waited for the back stretch, and then we crashed back down into turn 1 and 2. So, oh well, that's what you do.
So much was discussed tonight about how the track would change as it got dark. How did you, what was the experience that you felt?
Well, we started out a little bit tight, and track was actually coming our way a little bit. It started to free up a little bit that last run right before we wrecked, and we felt pretty good about it. We were just biding our time. We were just running there. We were running hard, but we were just running, and felt like we're probably the only car that's going to give Carl a shot. So it's a shame that we didn't have a chance to race it out the rest of the night and see what it would come down to towards the end and what team would make better adjustments. But it seemed like ours was a little bit better on the long run.
Thanks, Kyle. Marty?
Well, Kyle's 100th start tonight will be a DNF, his first in 13 here at Texas. Think of this. 35 wins in the Nationwide Series in 100 starts. Anybody would take a 35% win percentage. There's the top 5 after 116 of 200 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway. As the Longhorn State is got a lot of horsepower tonight, and unfortunately for Kyle, he's not going to be around for the end of it.
Here's our 5-hour energy rapid recap to catch up on what's happened so far. Kyle Edwards started on the pole and has done most of the leading in this race, but he's been working hard.
Boy, he is big digging. Look at those elbows up, going through 1 and 2, really fighting at the bumps and all that, but Carl's done a great job, led a lot of laps.
His teammate Ricky Stenhouse Jr. trying to become a first-time winner of the Nationwide Series, led for some 5 laps earlier in the race, then fell back. We heard just a short while ago Stenhouse fighting an ill-handling car. He's running in 7th position now. Brad Keselowski had to make an unscheduled pit stop just 38 laps into the race. Well, let me rephrase that. An early pit stop because his car's handling was not going as he needed. As you can see on the right side of the screen, the caution flag is out in the race. We'll continue with this. Keselowski managed to run through the cycle of pit stops. It got him back up in a 2nd spot. Then he moved up and took the lead for a little while from Carl Edwards. That in a moment. Kyle Busch racing hard up to 2nd spot. Watch him almost get the lead on a set of pit stops.
Yeah, Kyle Busch racing really hard. He and Carl Edwards both are almost getting to the 52 car, and Kyle gets collected up and it ruins his night.
So Kyle Busch is out of the race. Carl Edwards is leading. The 40 car is the one that has brought out
Scott
the caution
Wimmer,
flag.
Yeah, Scott Wimmer.
Smoke trailing from behind a car is usually not a good thing.
It's not a good sign.
And so this brings out the yellow for just the 3rd time in this race with only 77 laps to go. So we're going to see teams come down pit road here, Brad, with basically 2 sets of tires left at their disposal. 77 laps, and we know there's a lot of speed on fresh tires to be seen for later in the race. This could get interesting.
Oh, I think guys are going to grab tires, no doubt about it. I mean, you may not, get a chance to get another stop. We'll get another caution. Who knows what guys do? Somebody may stay out and try to get track position. I'd say you grab those tires and get as much track position as you possibly can.
Edwards, Keselowski, and Kane, your top 3 coming to pit road. These stops will do with 76 laps to go, Jamie.
And Casey Kane's car just continues to get looser. His temperatures are going up. Water temperatures, that is. You see the wrench in the back window. Wedge adjustment, 4 tires, and they will fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Over to Doc.
And triple pits, top of your screen. Brad Keselowski says it gets very loose early in the run, and the car gets tighter and tighter from the middle off late in the run. 2 more rounds down on the track bar. Vince.
It's a 4-tire change and air pressure adjustment for the 20 of Joey Logano. He says he just needs it to take off a little better. He doesn't feel like he's got the motor that the others do. That's where he's losing. Dave.
This is the first time on pit road for Carl since that contact on track. They do not touch that left rear quarter panel, and he will win the race off of pit road with a 4-tire change and a track bar adjustment. Alan?
Nice job by Team 60. So Edwards trying to get Ford its first win with this next generation Nationwide Series car. Edwards the leader with 76 laps to go. Logano, Keselowski, Almirola, and Kane the top 5 off pit road.
Principal. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues Sunday and Monday night. First on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, American League East rivals square off at Fenway. Mark Teixeira looks to continue his hot spring when the Yankees take on a struggling Red Sox team led by Adrian Gonzalez. And then on ESPN Monday Night Baseball, another American League East rivalry at Fenway. It's the Rays and the Red Sox. Major League Baseball on ESPN Sunday and Monday nights. We're under our third caution here, and we welcome you back to the O'Reilly 300 at Texas. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Gives us a chance while we're under the caution, so let's talk to Carl Edwards.
Hey, Carl Edwards, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us?
I got you. We live now? This thing on here?
Yeah, we're ready to go now. We've been staying off there, man. You've been up there leading that race. We didn't want to bother you, but we're going to bother you now. It looks to me like you've been flat flying out there, no doubt about that. How's this transition for your car been from daytime to night racing?
It's been good, but we've had to make some adjustments. Mike Beam's been he's been turning the screws on this thing, and it's good. I don't know what happened with that 52 car there, though. I was telling you earlier, it might not have been using as fast and all nuts and bolts. It looked like something broke. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and then I looked in the mirror, and he collected the 18th. But I think that was going to be a pretty good race between me and the 18 there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Carl. That 52 blew a right front tire, and he got so close to you, he bent your left rear quarter panel back just a little bit. You probably don't know that. But, boy, he come right in front of Kyle and got Kyle. That had to be one of the closest ones you've had to deal with, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I'm lucky that it happened when it did, because I barely caught it, and I moved, but I thought, boy, I'm going to look like an idiot if I'm just imagining this, but he definitely was coming up the track. So hopefully we can hold off, who we got, Joey and Brad, everybody back here. We weren't very good on that last restart, so I'm hoping we can go here and make up some ground.
All right, Carl, thanks for talking. Let's have a great race.
All right, have fun up there.
And he mentioned the Kyle Busch situation. Let me point out one other thing. I mentioned the 100th race for Kyle. That's in the Toyota. He has 207 career races, 35 wins in the Toyota, a total of 46 overall. Michael Annett gets the lucky dog. Jason Leffler gets a penalty for speeding, too fast exiting, and 3 waiver rounds. The 28 of Derek Cope, Robert Richardson, and Sam Hornish Jr. It means we have a total of 18 cars on the lead lap. It'll be Edwards, and this time it looks like Carl is going to take the low side.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Logano will be alongside. Then it'll be Keselowski, Almirola, Stenhouse, your top 5. Then Menard, Allgaier, Ruderman, Sorensen, Sadler. Now, Casey Kane came in down pit road. He's going to restart 18th. He had some damage to the right front. We'll get an update on that as soon as we can. We're going back to Green Flag Racing here at Texas.
Tell you what, that's a little bit of a surprise to me right there to see Carl run so quick in the bottom. You'd have thought the top side would have really came in with Joey Logano, Andy, but it didn't happen.
Not this time. Carl gets a big blast down the back straightaway and gets clear. So does, looks like Brad gets clear too.
Eric Almirola goes way high, a little bit further back in that 88. In fact, he's losing a couple of spots because of it.
He used strategy that last round. He got tires when the other cars stayed on the track. Made his way up into the top 5, and I don't know that he's got a car that's capable of running with the top 5 cars at this point on even tires. We'll see.
Okay, with that 88 car, Eric Almirola, we've been watching him all night long, and he's been steadily just getting himself to the front, working on that 88 car. Pretty impressive run for Eric tonight.
David Ruderman in the 99 going underneath him, along with the 2 of Elliott Sadler. There's Brian Scott in the 11 right behind Almirola.
Yeah, talking about Brian Scott, I mean, this is another guy I've been watching throughout the night. His car is getting better and better. A teammate to Kyle Busch. And Andy, it looks like as it got darker out here and cooled on, this 11 car of Brian Scott has took off.
Yeah, Rusty, I've watched lap times on Brian Scott all race long, and he's been back in the pack, but he's been running fast laps. So we'll see now that he's got track position what he can do.
There's Trevor Bayne going underneath Almirola, right side of your screen. And here comes the 7 of Josh Wise. That is all for position, 11th, 12th, 13th. And then right behind them is Stephen Wallace, who's running in 14th. On board with Stephen.
Boy, here out of the gas right now. In qualifying, they were almost wide open all the way around this racetrack. It just goes to show you how slick this track got and how much they got to slow down when they're in real race conditions.
So Almirola has slid back now to the 13th spot. It seems like his car is not capable of running down low right now, and it's costing him.
Well, I think his car has been on the top side of the track most of the night, Marty. I mean, it just runs better up there. And as a driver, when you're driving these things, you got to let that car go where it wants to go.
Let's check in on the battle for 4th place. You've got Paul Menard right in front of Joey Logano. And remember, it's not been the banner year for Joey Logano, especially over on the Cup side of the equation, but he still hasn't even had a really good, super strong run like we've been seeing him in the past here on the Nationwide side as well.
He's a closer, though. Usually at the end of the race is when he peaks. We'll see now if he can do that. We only have 67 laps to go. They'll still have to make one more pit stop.
On board with Jason Leffler.
Sam Hornish having a pretty decent run, getting himself back in the lead lap. Michael Annett right there got the lucky dogs, got him back in the lead lap. And there's the 2 Turner cars.
Well, remember Casey Kane. Yeah, remember he had to come in for that late pit stop because there is damage on the race car. You see it on the right front corner. And let's get an update from pit road as to what is going on. Jamie?
Well, Marty, what happened is when he entered pit road for the last round of pit stops, he actually got into the back of Brad Keselowski. You see it here. As he starts to drop those left side tires below the line, committing to pit road, you see them all check up. The right front of the 38 got into the left rear side of the 22. He didn't even tell the team, so they didn't realize. He came back in and they fixed it. Let's go to the Craftsman Tech Garage. Tim Brewer, what does that Bondo tape do?
Well, we got a couple of different applications. Back in Andy Petrie's day, he used duct tape, but then Bear Bond came along, and that stuff's really good. But see what happens when you hold it up? And now we've got this new stuff called X-Flex. It's got aluminum in the bonding, and it's just as good as Bear Bond. And you put it over there, it's got the aluminum in it, helps to hold the configuration of the nose of the car. Guys?
Thank you, Tim. And you see that Casey Kane trying to fight his way back up towards the front of the field. Remember, he came back once before after a penalty. And here he is working his way up through this group of cars. And whoa, got awfully close to the 01 of Mike Wallace.
He's already got it banged up. Might as well use up the rest of it.
Mike is in 22nd spot, 1 lap down. And Casey is a man on the mission. Kane right now is moved into the 15th position, but he is 11 seconds behind race leader Carl Edwards, and we've got 64 laps to go.
Tickets today.
On to green in Texas with 58 laps to go. Reminder that NASCAR Now presented by 5 Hour Energy. Texas pre-race edition, 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow on ESPN2. And we'll wrap up the race weekend on the Monday Roundtable presented by Shell Nitrogen. That's at 5 Eastern, ESPN2. Next weekend, it's the Aaron's 312 at Talladega on Saturday, 2 Eastern, ESPN2. And the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals next weekend, qualifying Saturday at 6 Eastern. The finals next Sunday at 7 Eastern. That is what's coming up on the Motorsports calendar on the ESPN networks. On board with Kenny Wallace. Cruising along here at 180 plus miles an hour. Herm running in 21st position at the moment. See the scoring serial on Kenny.
Kenny's had a decent run. A lap down, just a couple spots away from the lucky dog if he can maintain that position.
And you look at the race leader, Carl Edwards, has led 123 of the 144 laps that we've run so far tonight. Farther back, race here for 4th and 5th positions. Logano 20, Stenhouse 6. Stenhouse had moved up as high as 3rd position. Now he started falling back.
Yep, 1 lap. It just got really free there. Like, how are they doing this? I mean, like, it's good, and then all of a sudden, light switch, you know?
Same lap time as the leader.
Well, we talked about what would be different racing at night besides that it would be dark out. A lot of these teams are trying to figure it out.
That's
what's
exactly
going
right.
on.
What's going on with these race cars? And watch him drive this race car as he goes down this corner. Watch him saw on that wheel. Look how far he's turning that thing to the right just to maintain balance in that race car. That is absolutely incredible. They are working their rear ends off in these race cars tonight.
Driving hard. And again, Stenhouse leading the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship beginning tonight. And at the moment, still leads the Nationwide Series Championship. He's running in 5th position. Now, Joey Logano started 2nd on that last restart. Fell back to 5th. He's in 4th now. Vince, what are they saying?
Well, that's exactly right, Alan. The car just has been starting off the run too tight, and then it starts coming to Joey, and he starts picking it up. And as you noted, he has started to get up on it a little bit better and start moving back to the front. They weren't quite as good as their teammate Kyle Busch early in the race, but they seem to be getting better as it's wearing on, although Joey says he feels like he's missing some of the straightaway speed. It's still a little bit too tight in the corner. It's a big race for Logano and his sponsor, GameStop. GameStop headquartered here in Grapevine, Texas, just down the road. GameStop, the world's largest video game retailer. And if you notice there on the hood of the car, they're showcasing the NASCAR 2011 game. And I know a lot of people out there enjoying that one already. In fact, Joey said it's about as realistic as you can get. Alan?
Well, Logano would like a real win at Texas tonight, but he's got to overtake 3 more people. One of them right in front of him, that Neon 33 car. That's Paul Menard, who is running third. They are 1.5 seconds behind Carl Edwards, the leader, Brad Keselowski, who runs second with 52 laps to go. Can Carl make it 2 in a row at Texas and get Mustang its first win in the next generation Nationwide Series car?
.com. NASCAR Nationwide Series at Texas is brought to you by Pizza Hut. All your favorites at great prices every day. John Hancock, the future is yours. And Kingsford Charcoal, slow down and grill.
It's such a beautiful night under the lights here at Texas Motor Speedway as we're looking at the battle for the 5th position, as Justin Allgaier has just gotten around Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to take over that 5th spot. They're about 3.5 seconds behind race leader Carl Edwards, and we have 46 laps to go. Speaking of Carl Edwards, his lead over now second place Paul Menard is 0.9 of a second. Let's go up to speed. Let's catch up. Dave Burns.
And Marty, about 10 laps ago, the fuel window opportunity for the 60 car opened up, according to crew chief Mike Beam. They have 1 set of tires left. The big question is, after getting beat by a 2-tire stop late at Fontana earlier this year, will Mike Beam call for 2 or 4 with Carl? Jamie?
And Paul Menard in at 33. His car is the best in my area of pit road. They've adjusted minor on this car, but this is his first time driving for Kevin Harvick, his first race in the Nationwide Series this year. He's good, Doc.
And Brad Keselowski inside his fuel window. They can actually go to lap 177 if they have to, if we have a green flag stop for the final one. The car was loose early and tight late. Now it's staying loose here. What about Joey Logano, Vince?
Well, Joey Logano working this season for the first time with his crew chief, Adam Stevens, who came over from the 20 Cup team. They're still getting on the same page communication-wise, but get the feeling things are getting better tonight. Car started very loose, and now it's coming to them. Doc?
Give a call to Justin Allgaier and his crew chief, Jimmy Ellis. They're new to each other, only worked together now for 6 races this year, but the communication has gotten better. Early in the race, the right front tire was down to the cords, but they have worked and worked and worked on it. Still tight in the middle, a little loose off, but Allgaier third in the points, trying to get a top 5 finish here tonight. Dave.
Ricky Stenhouse has struggled with a very loose race car tonight, and it's still that way, but he does know that this team has improved a lot since last year.
The way last year went, it was kind of rough. We got better, but at the end of last year, I felt like we had a car that maybe could win some races. This year, coming into this year, but it's cool when we put consistent runs together and to see where that puts you in the points.
He came in as the points leader, running 6th right now. Looks like he could leave as the points leader as well. Vince?
The 2 car of Elliott Sadler have been fighting loose throughout most of the night. The car has gotten much better, hanging around in the top 10, currently running 7th. That's after back-to-back top 5s. This was a team that started off with some disastrous results, but they're getting better. After finishing 12th at Vegas, they went back to work, went to the 7 post, went to the wind tunnel. They've made major improvements in a month's time. Dave?
Reed Sorensen said his car is hard to drive. That was his last comment after talks of rear grip and all kinds of things that really mean the back end of the car is not where he wants it. He can turn the race car, just as the back end doesn't seem to be in the track where he wants it to be for the end of this race. Doc?
And behind him, the 11 car of Brian Scott. Now, that's a veteran crew chief, Kevin Kidd, making the call for Brian Scott, who finished second in the points last year for Rookie of the Year. Good battle here between the 11 and 99 as he's gone around David Rudiman and now pulling away. But Brian Scott, this is the best this car has been the entire race. Major track bar and air pressure adjustments on the last pit stop really helped this car take off. And right behind him, David Rudiman subbing for the injured rookie Ryan Truex. Truex had to have surgery on his right wrist, had a screw put in the scaphoid bone, which he had broken 2 years ago in a dirt bike accident. And Rudiman said, I hate to get in the car this way, but I'm glad to be able to get back and drive for Michael Waltrip here in a nationwide race. Marty.
All right, thanks, Doc. And there is our race leader, Carl Edwards. And, of course, if you're interested in the points and the nationwide only championship, we'll show them to you because Jason Leffler is the last car on the lead lap. What's significant about that? He's the only car to be on the lead lap at the finish of every race. Welcome back to the O'Reilly 300 here at Texas, and make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. And right before the break, we ran through the entire top 10, and with 33 laps to go, nothing has changed, although Paul Menard is one car that is definitely on the move right now. He is 2 seconds behind our race leader. There you see the top 5. And we mentioned 6 through 10 with David Ruderman rounding out that group. Now let's zero in, since there's really no serious pass for position going on. Let's give some love to the 7 of Josh Wise as he gets a little loose right there. He's running in the 11th spot, and guys, this would be his best finish of the season if he could hold on.
Yeah, he's carrying the torch for Junior Motorsports today and having a good run. Eric Almirola has made a run to the front. He's now faded back to 14th, but Josh Wise is doing a good job.
A little bit farther back, we'll catch up with Trevor Bayne. The 20-year-old had high hopes for this race, but he is running in 12th place right now.
Yeah, he's doing pretty decent right now. He's been really fighting an ill-handling car all night long. He's been bottom, the front splitter out. It's been loose. It's been pushing. It's really been all over the place, but he's making a best run out of a bad situation right now, guys.
Yeah, and Casey Kane in the 38, he has struggled all day long. He's had fast car at points of this race, got a penalty for speeding on pit road, had to come back and fix some damage.
Well, we're going to stop short of getting through the rest of the cars on the lead lap because we're getting our last round of pit stops under green. Doc, here comes Brad Keselowski.
45 miles an hour, final stop. He said the car had gotten free and stayed free rather than tightening up. They were talking about maybe a round in the left rear. If they are going to make that adjustment in the left rear. Slight air pressure change, 4 tires, final set for Brad Gay. He said, give me something to race them with. I got 30 laps to get there. They came in 7 laps early. He is down and away 15.3 seconds. Marty?
Well, the way you make that work, he's short pitting right here, and you have to get 4 tires here. You need to try to get out there and get as many laps as you can on these leaders. It's a good chance that somebody in this top 3 or 4 is going to take 2 tires and wait late to do it.
Well, let's point out the final green flag stretch has been 27 laps or less in 17 of the 20 prior races. We have 30 to go.
So there's a good chance we'll see another yellow.
Very good chance. 33 of Paul Menard going through your screen. There's Joey Logano and the 09 of Kenny Wallace. Kenny 2 laps down now in 21st position.
Paul Menard now just 1.6 seconds behind Carl Edwards.
All right, so now that no one else has decided to come for a quick pit stop, let's go back and check in on some of those other cars we talked about in the top running order.
Yeah,
13th, Eric Almirola.
Yeah, Eric Almirola. I've been real impressed with him. He's been running stronger and stronger throughout the night. He's having a good run in his Junior Motorsports car tonight. Looking good to me.
Well, he finished 10th at Bristol, then at Fontana, came home in 9th, and as we said, right now running in the 13th spot. 14th position, this young man you're familiar with, Stephen Wallace.
Yeah, Stephen Wallace having a good solid run tonight. He's had points in the race where he got down just a little bit, but he's brought his way back up on the lead lap, and now he's got a chance to get in the top 15 finish.
He's having a pretty good run right now. He's worked on that car all night long, and it's been running better and better as the races went on. Looks like he's pretty happy with it at the moment.
See his cycle right now as his low was 24th, currently running in 14th. Farther back in the 15th position, Jason Leffler. And Leffler, well, as we pointed out, he has finished on the lead lap in every race so far this year, and his worst finish has been 11th twice. And all of a sudden, here comes Jason down pit road. And the last car on the lead lap was Michael Annett, and he'll take over that 15th spot as Leffler pulls down pit lane. Doc, he's coming your way.
Second in the point standings, Jason Leffler hoping to be able to get at least a top 5 finish here, but obviously that speeding on pit road penalty really hurt him. Chassis adjustment, right rear, right side tires. Now they're going to go ahead and put left side tires on. A lot of guys out here talking about 2 only, and maybe one of his teammates may try to roll the dice and come in late for 2. Leffler is down and away.
15.9. We can tell you Josh Wise has just pulled into his pit box. Jamie?
And Josh Wise started 17th tonight. He's been handling an ill car. It too has been so loose. That's what we've heard as the guys continue to work on the left side, putting together a great run. Of course, the 7 car, what we see, Danica Patrick, and normally Josh Wise filling in for the 2nd week in a row.
His stop a little bit quicker at 15 seconds flat. Right side of your screen, Carl Edwards continues to motor on. Another car pulling down pit road, the 88 of Eric Almirola. Jamie?
And Eric's His car has been all right tonight. It could be better. He too has been loose. He's been struggling just a little bit. Not as good as the 7 car of Josh Wise. 4 sticker tires. He had scuffs last time. It didn't work out too well for him. And meanwhile, the 33, Paul Menard, locks him up coming into the box for the last time. He was second on the board. He has not won a race since 2006. If he wants to get it done for Kevin Harvick, this will be their moment. They must perform right now. We'll send it over to Doc.
Justin Allgaier, 4 tires and fuel. Very, very tight race car. Remember we told you about that right front tire was down to the cords early in the race. They have tightened him back up. They're going to try to hang on here for the final 24 laps. He is down and away for his final stop, just under 17 seconds.
You see the number 2 also. That is Elliott Sadler. They took 4 tires as well. Stephen Wallace has pulled in. They're working on the right side of his car.
It's just normal pit stop here. 4 tires for him. Right side tires. A little adjustment on the right rear corner of that car. Going to the left side right now. It's been a last stop for the 66 car.
Reed Sorensen pulling in right behind him, Dave.
And Marty, he had been running the 6th position before this round of pit stops began. You see him right there in the yellow car. That car that's hard to drive to make a slight air pressure adjustment, but really just get the 4 fresh tires on there and get Reed back out here, trying to pick up a couple more positions before the night's over.
Kasey Kahne has made a very quick stop. Joey Logano is coming in. Trevor Bayne has made his final stop. And here's the 20 going to Vince.
This is a car that's gotten better as the night has progressed. They needed to take off a little bit better, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires, no other changes. A little bit of Sunoco fuel for Joey Logano. Doc?
They were contemplating 2 tires and decided 4 tires for David Reutimann. No adjustment. David said the car is the best it's been all day. 4 tires, final stop. Hoping to stay in the top 10, maybe a top 5.
All right, so far we've been tracking. No one has taken 2. Everybody has taken 4. Here comes Ricky Stenhouse. Dave?
I believe, guys, they are going to go for 4 tires as well. Remember, this car was so loose, but the only adjustment they're planning to make is one they've already done. They've changed the air pressure in these tires to try to help Ricky out. And it looks like they've got the other 2 up on the wall, so they will take 4. On the other hand, our leader is on pit road. He stayed out a little bit longer just in case the caution comes out. Now I believe they're going to take 2 tires. Carl said his car was loose on throttle. They'll make a wedge adjustment for your race leader, but they're planning on taking 2 tires. So remember, Montana just 2 races ago, it was a 2-tire stop that won the race against Carl. And now they're going to go to 4. So as soon as they go one way, they go a different way. Mike Beam calling for 4 and that wedge adjustment, guys.
Well, the reason they did that, Dave, is because they had stayed out long enough to see everybody else make their pit stop, and everybody got 4. It was really kind of a no-brainer for them to get 4 as well, because they're not going to gain anything. They're going to maintain the lead off pit road here by getting those 4 tires.
We can tell you Brian Scott stayed out long enough to lead a lap. He is now pulled down to pit road. And Doc, he's in your box.
Yeah, Brian, the 3rd Joe Gibbs racing car. They were going to put 4 tires on it, make a track bar adjustment to try to tighten up just a little bit, loose off, loose in, tight in the middle. But they want the car to be able to turn, so we can get up off the corner. So 4 tires, he is down and away.
Michael Annett has still yet to make a stop, and he is shown as the race leader in the 62. So he will be our 4th different leader and 5th lead change. But Carl Edwards will assume the lead once Michael has to come down pit road. Just in case you're wondering, Annett last pitted on lap number 126. We're working lap 182, 18 to go, and you can see the difference 4 fresh tires makes as Trevor Bayne goes by. It makes it look pretty easy.
Yeah, Annett just hoping a caution flag comes out right now, gets everybody caught in the pits, and he can stay on the lead lap. Put 4 tires in his car, put some fuel in it, and it'll work out great for him if the caution would fall right now. But it's a lot to ask for.
His lead right now is shown as 10 seconds. But again, we know he has to stop, and you pointed it out. He's hoping for the caution. Right behind him, Edwards and Brad Keselowski hooked up into a pretty good battle. Once Annett pits, this will be the battle for the race lead, and It was pretty close there for a second, but Carl again is starting to open it up.
Yeah, he just squeezed out right in front of Brad Keselowski after he made that pit stop. But he has the 4 tires now, and he's able to kind of hold them off. But it looks like Brad's trying to make a run of it.
Well, this will definitely, if Brad doesn't have a last lap disaster like he's had earlier this season, this will be his best finish whether he wins or not. Let's get an update on the 60. Dave Burns.
Well, Marty, it was interesting. After both Roush Fenway front-running cars, Ricky Stenhouse and Carl Edwards pitted, they had opposite reactions. Ricky immediately loose, just like it was. Carl, perfect. Perfect. He said it twice.
Ricky's been having a handful all night long, and Carl has been running like he's not been on a rail all night long. 15 laps to go. Carl, as we pointed out, I mean, he has been stellar in qualifying, but has yet to win this year in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. How about the battle for 14th right now, as there goes Trevor Bayne underneath the 7 of Josh Wise. Those are the last 2 cars on the lead lap. First car 1 lap down is Sam Hornish in 16th.
There's no doubt about one thing. This is the best that Trevor Bayne's had this car all night long. I'm watching the speeds. It's about the fastest it's been. They've had a lot of time to work on it and get it better since the start of this race.
Well, he had the 3rd quickest lap on that last lap of the cars on the lead lap. Here's the battle for 4th with Paul Menard and Joey Logano. Menard is about a second and a half behind Carl Edwards. Now, Michael Annett is still out in front by 4.7 seconds, but again, he still has to make that stop. Bit of a log jam right there for the race leader. As slower traffic. Blake Cook takes down to the low side. Stephen Wallace right behind, and then you see Brad Keselowski in 3rd. And there's the man that's in 1st, Michael Annett in the 62.
Well, he's been out there a long time on his tank of fuel, Rusty.
I started to say, I think he's got a lot of gas in the tank, evidently. We're hearing 1 more lap right now for Annett to hit pit road. But, boy, he has really stretched that fuel mileage.
Well, he's up to, what? It's pitted on lap 126, and we're working lap 189.
Well, at least they'll know how far that car will go next time, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be a great race for the lead once he does make that pit stop.
Keep it tight to the wall, gas only.
That's the 62 radio. They're going to do gas only.
And they stretch it all the way to 10 to go, so they'll just get a little shot of fuel and try to make it to the finish, see if they can steal a few spots.
10 laps to go next time by as they fly down the backstretch. What a beautiful view from high above. Night races, everything looks faster.
And that's the one thing about this racetrack. Everything looks super fast, and it really is fast. I mean, in qualifying a couple years ago here in the Nationwide race, it was the fastest lap time by James Buescher all year long out of these Nationwide cars at this particular track. That's how fast they run.
Well, here comes the 62 finally, and Doc, he's coming your way.
What a night for Michael Annett. They've taken the wave around. They've gotten the lucky dog. They had to come back on pit road because the header came loose, and now they try to hang on and get great gas mileage, gas and go for his final stop.
3 seconds, not too bad. Just don't get caught speeding.
Here comes Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, we've got a battle shaping up for the race lead. Brad Keselowski, whose season in the Nationwide Series this year has been nothing like last year. I mean, it's just been abysmal. And he is looking for victory number 1 here in 2011, as is Carl Edwards. Slower traffic on the inside. They both clear easily.
I think Keselowski's run a very conservative race because of the things I said earlier. They've had a lot of tire failures. They've been really, with their setups, leaning on that right front tire. So they've been conservative tonight, try to save that tire and not abuse it. Now he's only got a few laps to go with fresh tires. He can really push the car hard. We'll see if he can beat Carl here.
That 12th car of Sam Hornish Jr., he is shown in 16th position now, 1 lap down, soon to be 2 laps down.
Oh, and the other thing is Brad Keselowski pitted quite a few laps before Carl, so Carl has fresher tires. But look at Brad, he's coming.
Well, he is coming. One thing I'm thinking about right now, is these guys that are running this race tonight, Andy, it's got to help these guys in tomorrow's Cup race. They know now what the track's going to do from daytime to nighttime. They've worked out their air pressures. In my opinion, this is an advantage for these guys running the race tonight for tomorrow.
Well, here's something that ought to keep everybody tuned in. Keselowski's been involved in 3 of the last 4 races that ended with a last lap pass, and he won 2 of those 3.
Now he's starting to lose a little bit of ground to Carl.
He picks him up in the center of the corner. Brad does just a little bit. We saw him the last lap. That tail is wagging around just a little bit. It looks pretty free to me, like Brad's driving a pretty loose car.
25. He ran a 45. Put this guy away, man. Let's go. 6 laps.
That's Mike Beam, the crew chief, talking to Carl Edwards. He's trying to pump him up here.
Yes, and Carl was the fastest that last lap. And it was Paul Menard who was second quick. That last
Mike up there getting nervous. Look at him.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
He's like, come on, man. I'm tired of messing around here. Let's get out of Dodge. This thing's been fast all night long. Let's not get it close at the end. I want to win this thing.
This time by, there will be 5 laps remaining. And for one of these 2, it's going to be their first win of 2011. A couple of lap vehicles in front of them.
Wow, look at Keselowski really sliding the rear end of that car, pushing hard.
Yeah, he's driving hard as he can. It gets off that turn 2 where that banking falls off. The whole car gets loose on him.
It's Timmy Hill giving way to Keselowski.
Brad gets a good run off
4. Easily clears the 41 of Jennifer Jo Cobb. So does Keselowski. So lap traffic not providing any hindrance to the 2 race leaders.
Hey, these two race leaders, these guys aren't scared of each other. We've seen a lot of action between these guys in previous years. Right, bumping and banging and upside down and crashing.
Right in front of them is Jason Leffler. Remember, he is second in the points right now and trying to keep that streak alive of being on the lead lap at the finish of every race.
Here comes Brad. Now he's closed it up a little bit more.
Yeah, that was a really good corner for Keselowski just then.
A couple tenths quicker than Carl.
3 laps to go here at Texas. And there is the difference between first and second as you ride on board with Brad Keselowski.
Carl Edwards' car, the bottom of the racetrack, we had a shot behind it. Looks like the back of the car is just hung out all the way around that corner. It's got that quarter panel kind of laying in the air. Kind of a technique these guys use with these new Nationwide cars, just really using aerodynamics.
Yeah, it looks like Brad could make a run, but he gets loose after a couple of laps running really hard. I believe Carl's got it now.
And Leffler gives way to the race leader, so he goes 1 lap down. And we have a lap and a half to go here at Texas. And Carl's got a little bit more breathing room between he and second place Brad Keselowski.
If Carl can get to this white flag, it's pretty well all over. Race would be complete then.
White flag, one more time.
There you go.
1.5 miles to go here at Charlotte. The fans have seen a good one tonight. Had surprises in more ways than one, with Kyle Busch getting crashed out through no fault of his own, and Carl Edwards putting in a dominating performance. He has never been lower than 3rd the entire evening. And here he is just a couple corners away after winning the pole earlier today. Here he comes out of turn number 4. Keselowski tries to come as low as he can to cut the margin, but Carl Edwards is going to pick up win number 1 in 2011. Brad Keselowski in 2nd. Menard comes home in 3rd. And look at this as we come to the stripe. It will be Elliott Sadler in head of Justin Allgaier. That is for 5th and 6th. Then Reed Sorensen, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., David Rudiman, and Brian Scott round out your top 10.
Good race, guys. Really good job.
The 30th win in his 217th start. And he now starts a streak here at Texas. He has won 2 in a row.
Good night for these guys. Good race. They all learned a lot tonight. Vince?
With Mike Beam, the crew chief for Carl Edwards. And Mike, we had a visit yesterday, and you were kind of beating yourself up about the fact you had not won a race yet this season. How good does it feel to have finally gotten it done?
It feels great because everyone's worked so hard. You know, we moved our race shop to Concord, and Robbie and his guys, they've helped us so much. And, you know, it's just a wonderful feeling to win for, you know, Fastenal and Valvoline and, you know, for Ford. And, you know, it's just it's finally won with the Mustang, and you know it's just wonderful to do that because we've had so much pressure to win. You know, we really stunk last year. It was really embarrassing the way we ran our COT cars, but everyone's worked so hard for us, and you know, it's like I say all the time, I'm just so blessed to have Carl Edwards in this group, and you know, and all the support. It's just good fun.
Real quickly, can you describe the emotions that you were going through those last 6 or 7 laps?
You know, Vince, the way our races have gone this year, I just kept waiting for something to happen. It looked like Brad's car was a little bit better on a short run there. If we had a caution, I think he would have beat us, you know, because I kept adjusting it. And, man, I turned the bolts on this thing, like Carl said, more than I have all season. But, you know, it's just good times.
Mike Beam celebrating up here. Carl Edwards celebrating with the fans, Marty.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he's going to get out of there unless security gives him a helping hand. The fans were gathering as the laps were winding down, and he does make it back out.
That's one happy man right there. He loves getting in that crowd and mixing it up with them. The fans love it too.
So Carl climbed back in and make his way towards victory lane and pull out the 6 shooters one more time. So as the fireworks go off outside of turn number 2, Carl Edwards with the patented backflip. And we come back, we'll talk to the man who's now has won 2 in a row in the Nationwide Series at Texas. Look at Carl. Yeah, he's a happy guy, and why not? I mean, he led a total of 169 laps, the celebration in the stands with the fans. And if you think this is fun, well, then come on out and join us. Here's our ticket to the race, the upcoming events on the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And see, the next week we'll be on our way to Talladega. Let's check in right now down on pit road with the man who came home with his best run so far this season, Doc.
And he was talking to crew chief Todd Gordon and congratulating the crew on a great effort. I know it's not a victory, but it has to feel good about this major step forward you guys took tonight.
Yeah, sure was. You know, ran like we did all year last year tonight, and made some great adjustments on the car, unloaded really well, and just came up a little bit short. Felt like if I could have cleared 60, the Carl Edwards coming off of pit road there and got the clean air, I felt like I might have been able to hold him off. We were both really even there towards the end, and just kind of came down to clean air, but he drove a good race, and it was a tough race, man. It's just long green flag runs and a lot of guys blowing out tires. I felt like I was going to blow one out every lap, and just got to drive really guarded, and then at the same time push hard, knowing that it's a good chance you're going to blow one out. So just got to go to work, make the tires a little better. Goodyear did a good job at Daytona, did a lot of testing, got their tires real good, and got some work to do on these other tracks, and you know, they're pretty good, so I'm sure they'll get at it and get us to where we can drive these things really hard, put on a great show for them fans.
All right, 5th consecutive top 5 for Brad Kay here at Texas. Marty?
And his best finish ever here at Texas. All right, there he is. He's made it to victory lane, Dave. He's all yours.
And Marty, with that 30th win, Carl Edwards becomes only the 5th man ever to get 30 or more wins in the Nationwide Series. And after avoiding cars in trouble and not knowing what a car was going to do at night here now, you win and you bring Mustang to victory lane, Carl.
Yeah, that's unreal. The first win for Mustang. I can't thank Ford and everybody that's worked on these cars enough. It's amazing. Fastenal, they've come on board and been a great partner, and I've had a lot of fun with them. It's cool to get the first win here for them of the year. And Valvoline, Wiley X, all the fans, and we still got space available on this car, so if anybody wants to market with a great company and a great team like these guys, we've got space available. But just an unreal race. The car was so fast.
Anybody steal your socks over there?
No, nobody stole my socks, but I tell you, the crowd at Texas is a little bit wild. I tried to go up in the grandstands, and it wasn't going to happen. There was an older woman that was just, she was holding me right there. I wasn't going anywhere, so that was fun. It's fun to go up there.
Hey, speaking of wild, you talked to us over the radio, but missing that wreck one more time, can you believe that you were that close to losing this race?
I was very close, and as fast as Kyle was, it was, in a way, it's frustrating to see him get knocked out. You know, he's been so fast here. I drove in the corner, out of the corner of my eye, out of the side window. I thought I saw that car turn, and I thought, well, I might as well just give him a little room. And I thought, well, I'm going to look like a moron if I hit the wall here, and I didn't need to turn. But I looked back, and I'm glad that I caught it. Another split second later, and it would have been over.
Not a moron. First-time winner in 2011. Carl Edwards, that guy wants to shake your hands. Congratulations, Marty.
And there's Jack Roush. And remember the talk that the team had from Ford, putting the pressure on with a big smile on their face? I think their smile is even bigger right now. And as they celebrate their 14th win here at Texas for Roush Fenway Racing, let's check in with Jamie Little.
Well, Paul Menard's first race in the Nationwide Series, first time ever for KHI. What do you think of Kevin Harvick's corporation here?
And Kevin and Delaney have awesome equipment, and David Hyder and these guys do a nice job. Car was really close once we unloaded on Wednesday or Thursday. Been pretty fast ever since. Just made a few adjustments. The guys did a hell of a job in the pits. Looking forward to the rest of the 6 races we run with KHI, and they got nice stuff. It's a lot of fun.
More races coming up, but next week at Talladega, it will be Clint Boyer. Marty?
All right, thank you, Jamie. Let's check in on the nationwide points because Elliott Sadler coming home in 5th with Allgaier 6th, Sorensen 7th, Stenhouse 8th. And here's how it shakes out. Ricky keeps the points lead. It's now 14 over Jason. And look at Elliott Sadler. Jumps 3 spots up to 4th. Actually tied with Reed Sorensen for that spot. And let's talk to Elliott Sadler. How about it, Doc?
Yeah, talking to teammate Paul Menard. Let's get in here quickly. And Elliott, you moved up to 4th in the point standings, 3rd consecutive top 5 finish. This has to feel pretty good after the way the year began.
You know, tonight I'm so proud of my race team because we were so loose at the beginning of the run, and Ernie didn't give up. He kept fighting and kept fighting and kept encouraging me, and Harvick was on the radio. And he told me some stuff about turn 3 and 4 that he found today in practice. And once I figured it out and hit it during the race, One Main Financial Chevrolet started coming to the front. So tonight was a great team effort, and we're so proud to come away with a top 5 finish.
3rd top 5 in a row. Jamie?
And 3rd straight top 5 for Joey Logano at Texas as well. Joey, you just said I'm a little confused. Why?
Oh, well, just trying to figure out these new race cars still, and it's progress. We've gotten better here with this new car. This is a good run for us. So we still gotta keep working for sure. You know, our GameStop Toyota was not very fast on restarts, and then about 10 laps in a run, I had a 10-lap window of really going fast, and my car was good, and then I had to get too free, and then I had to go backwards and lose everything I just gained. So we got to find a window that we can take off good and try to keep it that way throughout the run. So just got to find a little bit there, and I think we'll be right where we need to be. But, you know, at least we had some speed in it tonight. We had signs of promise there, so we'll take that and build off it.
All right, Joey Logano, it seems to be word of the night, inconsistent with these new cars here. Marty?
All right, thanks, Jamie. How about some final thoughts, guys?
Well, Carl was definitely dominant all race long, but I was really impressed with the way Brad Keselowski managed his race. Him and Todd Gordon, his crew chief, managed this race to come home with a 2nd place finish and a chance at that win.
Yeah, I mean, what I heard all night long, I was listening to all these guys, and they kept saying loose, loose, loose. What I've learned is that all these cars, these new cars, these drivers are fighting loose cars, and that's going to be the main thing they're going to have to work on with this new design Nationwide car if these guys are going to be successful week after week. Big problem for them, but hey, puts on a good race.
And folks, if you'll allow me just one quick moment, our TV broadcast team had a tough week. We want to send a speedy recovery and get well to Ron Skinner. We need you back here in the booth with us, Ron. And we lost one of our own last week, Corey Twait, and we send our love and support to his wife Jennifer and their daughters Jocelyn and Skylar, and he'll always be remembered, especially for his smile. And Alan, we'll send it your way to take us home for the night.
All right, Marty, thanks. And as Carl Edwards and company celebrate in Victory Lane, we turn our attention to tomorrow night's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race, where Carl will start 2nd. And Jack Roush has 3 cars in the top 4 qualifiers. Pre-race show, NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy, 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning. Monday, we wrap up the race weekend on the Monday Roundtable, presented by Shell Nitrogen. That's at 6 Eastern Time, ESPN2. On to Talladega next week, Saturday. Aaron's 3:12, 2 Eastern Time, ESPN2. And the NHRA 4-wide Nationals from Charlotte, qualifying next Saturday, finals next Sunday. And as we wrap things up from here in Texas tonight, Brad, it's a big night for Carl.
Well, just a lot of unexpected things happened, and so it's a great, exciting race. What about Josh Wise getting a good top 15 finish, as well as Brian Scott finished 10th for a good top 10 finish and an exciting race.
And I leave the night wondering what might have been if Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards had been racing for it right down to the end. Yep. But as it is, Carl Edwards is going to don the cowboy hat and celebrate in Victory Lane. Friday night fights are next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Talk to you from Talladega next weekend.
Dude, I love night racing more than anything in the world. Oh, son. This place is fast. It's really fun.
Oh, my goodness. Sorry, man. Golly, what is he doing out there?
Man, that's too bad for Kyle. That was going to be a good race.
Just hit your marks here.
Easier said than done.
All right, listen to me. Don't be driving pissed off, okay? Just be smart.
Put this guy away, man. Let's go. Good race, guys. Really good job.